was gone, except my bond. So I tried the only thing I knew to try. I hit that bong real hard, and man, I got so high and got online. Now maybe it was the whiskey, and maybe it was the beer, and maybe it was the weed, but somehow I wound up here, laughing my ass off at some liberty means. I signed up for the Patreon group, and as strange as it seems, somehow I knew that me and you would make a real good team. Well, a few months have come and gone since then. I'm feeling better than I'd ever been. I'm back again. Just don't feel like getting high anymore. I got this big old bong that I got no use for on my floor. Now maybe I'll live forever, and maybe I'll die tonight, and maybe I'll move to Cleveland, but somehow it'll be alright. We'll be laughing our ass off at some liberty memes, saving cats and horses and fulfilling kids' dreams. LNPM, yeah, I'm with them. We make a real good team. We make a real good team. She's still consensually mine.
Hey.
Early with the hello.
It's poking out the light.
Oh,
I figured it out.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Hi, guys.
Hey, happy Friday. Welcome to Liberty Late Night.
I'm Mary.
I'm Dave.
Yes, we're here to hang out with you guys. Thanks for coming in to hang out with us. It's
Let me
February
see.
7th already. Can you believe that? I suppose depending on what part of the world you're in, it could be the 8th already. But
Here we go.
Ninja Cat. Oh, I was thinking about you. I'm like, wait, he didn't show up last week. Sean Hatch's here. Ben White. Hello, everybody. I saw Johnny, Aaron, Mike Harwood's here. Today is going to be a ton of fun. We're really
Yes.
excited about our guest today, Hannah Cox. She is the national manager for the conservatives concerned about the death penalty. So there's going to be, yes, I feel like some really good.
Yeah, that's a hot button issue.
It is. It is.
Well,
And
even a lot of libertarians.
pardon me?
Even a lot of libertarians.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear all about it. So, hey, Ryan Seifert, what's up?
Soon
So
enough.
next Friday is Valentine's Day, and hey, Adam, what's up? If you have plans,
Cool.
cancel them. No, just bring your loved one.
Bring your date along.
Bring your date along to the LLN show, because we're going to be doing Liberty Late Night Friday, 9:30, same as always. And our guest is going to be Bo Wright, and we're super pumped about having him with us.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
It's going to be a ton of fun. And how, like, is
The
it...
official meme king.
Yeah, yep. And is it... I mean, I don't think it would be irony, but just it's funny because his name's Bo, and then it's on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, he's
and,
gonna be
you know,
our
it's like
Bo.
this cute little coincidence, you know? So I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a ton of fun. Oh, sorry. I
That's
might
okay.
be being really loud. I usually am. Dave's like, your volume's always in the red, and that's just how I talk. No. So make sure you join us here next Friday, also 9:30 p.m. Nope, not Central. Eastern. Why did I say Central? It's Eastern with an E. Eastern. Go East. E.
That's us.
Right. I was just thinking about that time we went in the wrong direction
Weast.
when we were going
We were
home.
going
Yeah.
weast.
But anyway, so today's going to be a ton of fun. Yes, Bo Bright is the homie. Yeah, yep. How you doing, Donnie Smith? Already paying for the date she's going to need to... Oh, goodness. Hey, did y'all catch the whole State of the Union thing? I know we were in one of the private groups that we're part of, and we talked about it on Tuesday night as it was happening. We got to watch Nancy Pelosi rip up the papers.
Yeah.
Yeah, while we were
Super
on.
exciting.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, she's doing a thing.
She's doing a thing.
And now,
How mature.
does she have to give away all those? Does she have to return those pens
I don't
now?
know.
Or did she bought a bunch of pens, right? Or is this just a joke that
No,
she bought a bunch
the
of
pens
pens
for the commemorative Nancy Pelosi pens for
when he got?
the impeachment signing.
Oh, okay. So, and now everyone's gonna, what? Just
Remember, we were just listening to it the other day. Ninja Cat.
yay, Johnny! Do you guys remember?
And then-
Oh yeah,
And then we listened to What Does the Fox Say?
I know, right?
That's Jane's favorite song right now.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That was funny that
What's
we
up,
got
Juan?
to watch Nancy get drunk. So we're going to be honest and tell you what's in our glasses is gin. We're doing 7 and 7s, except we just did a shot. But,
It's a warm up.
so that's, yeah, we got to do that. So, and I tell you, it started snowing. We got a bunch of snow. And then my heater's been on all day today. And I started to get like I was afraid my nose was going to bleed. It kind of was.
Really?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Too dry?
Too dry. I didn't put any like boiling water on the stove. Usually I let that go and kind of help, do its thing with the humidity in the house. But apparently
Pen
not.
15 Club.
What? Pen? What? 15? What is it?
Very good.
You want one of those pens? Yeah. Well, if Sean Hatch's still here, I just want to say that when our kids sing it, because there's a part where they say, "What does the fox say?" and it says "Hatchy, hatchy, hatchy ho," but they
Hacky, I think it says.
Oh, is it hacky? Okay, well, my kids say Hatchy for Sean Hatchy, and they think it's great. Once in sleeted one, Southern Texas. Oh, I heard about some of the Texas weather. Yeah, yep, that it was, and then Tennessee too had like 70-degree weather, and then a whole bunch of like thunderstorm rain where it was like flooding neighborhoods, and now it's snowing.
Climate change.
Yeah, right. Hey, Seth Boudreau.
Get
chapstick
owned,
in my nose.
conservatards.
And I was like, if I get a bloody nose, I'm gonna totally have to blame it on the cocaine. I don't do cocaine. But I would have to say that, so. Oh, man. Oh, I'm sorry, Donnie. Yeah, yep. So, what was the pen thing? Oh, your cat. Hi. Hi, Mike Harwood's cat. My cat is watching with me.
Oh.
So what else has been going on? I mean, I know we were in the private group on Tuesday.
Oh, you know what? I wrote stuff down.
Did you?
I started a folder.
There's, been a lot of fun and excitement. Do you think the Super Bowl halftime show has now just kind of fizzled because there was the whole State of the Union, and then he got acquitted?
Oh yeah. Well,
right?
it wasn't big news to begin with.
Yeah.
Everybody had their opinion for a day and moved on.
Okay.
Just
it
like
wasn't one of those things.
Hey,
Hi,
what's up,
Bo.
Bo? It's just like the whole Kansas City thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wasn't that big
Yeah.
of a deal. Just move on to the next
It
meme.
wasn't like
next
a whole
meme.
titty was out,
Right. Never forget.
that was out for a while.
Yeah. Was it?
Mm-mm.
I missed it.
The jokes.
Oh, okay. Like, I really missed it. I don't even remember when it was. But I mean,
we meant to watch them too. Mary mentioned it the other day, and then.
Oh no! My gosh, no! But I said we need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay,
Mike
so
Harwood has
I don't know if this is all
cat.
old news. This is things I've been picking up during the week. 4chan strikes again.
Oh yeah. What
Clogged
was
the
that?
lines. Internet trolls deliberately disrupted the Iowa caucus's hotlines for reporting results, which is
Caleb.
funny. I guess they were posting on their 4chan the phone number for reporting the caucus results as soon as they found out that their app wasn't working,
Oh gosh,
and they just everybody on their message board started calling in,
I believe it.
which caused even more chaos
Mm-hmm.
of the chaos.
Added chaos to the chaos. Yeah. I kind of picked up a little bit of what was going on there with the. It was an app. Now, who made the app?
Some startup, they're
Okay.
barely
But
anything
who
but
funded it? Who's tied to it?
well,
Isn't
a
somebody
couple
tied
people.
to
I
it?
guess
Okay.
Buttigieg or whatever, Bootyjug, whatever his name is. He gave them a bunch of money when they were starting up, so he helped funded their startup, and then I guess Clinton was somehow associated, or some of her old campaign
Yeah.
people were associated with it. So yeah, that's
didn't
not
either,
that's
Mike.
not shady at all.
Yeah, no, totally not shady.
Hmm.
Hey, did anybody catch... What's up, O'Brien McDuffie? Did anybody catch Alan Mosley's new show? He rebranded his show. It's called It's Too Late with Alan
Oh,
Mosley. And I'm telling you what, I was thinking today, like, that's what I was thinking, like, about a year ago, and I was like, we need to kind of change things a little, Dave, like, I was thinking, like, the late night show, like Jimmy Fallon, the beginning of the
Yeah.
show, it's all, like, in big city stuff like
Jazzy.
that. Yeah, and then I was like, okay, I'm over that now, I'm okay, I don't want to change anything, because Dave really didn't want to change anything. So,
Plus, they have much better graphics than I could ever make.
so we watched the show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it, like, that, it has the real, like, but I don't want to change anything of ours, because it's ours.
No, if anything, I want to
so.
digress. I was thinking
Digress.
we should do one of our shows on our phone, sitting in our living room on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
I was really thinking about that real hard today at work.
Just go back to the couch for a minute.
at least for an episode.
Yeah, sure, why not? It'd be a ton of fun. William. Is William here?
Probably.
Hi, William.
Yeah,
I
hi,
see
William.
that Donnie's saying hi to William. You want a lion, you're scared it would eat you. I probably feel the same way, No one can pronounce my name.
Ninja Cat MC.
Yeah, what? Or you mean your real name? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, are you looking at stuff?
I got more stuff. I got this guy. He ran for mayor in Canada, I guess at some point, but he says that he got divorced and his wife was awarded child support, and he tells the judge that he in a few different trips he took out $1 million out of his bank account and said he burned it at a couple bonfires and burned $1 million.
Wow. So she couldn't have it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not something that I would normally do, he said.
But won't they just take whatever's left? Like,
It doesn't matter,
Or-
but the other thing is it's not like he recorded or anything, so I doubt it.
oh,
took it
he
somewhere and
lost
buried
it in a
it,
boating
yeah.
accident.
So he burned
All them
$1 million.
dollars.
25 separate withdrawals.
Yes.
1 million Canadian dollars, 750,000 US dollars.
I'm right with you, Mike. It's all ridiculous. Shout out to Matt Thompson. Happy birthday. Yes. Happy
says,
birthday.
I don't believe you. I don't trust you. I don't think you're honest. I find what you have done to be morally reprehensible because what you claim to have done willfully and directly undermines the interests of your children.
Oh,
True that, because it was child support.
Yeah, yep.
That was rough.
Yep.
What's
Hi,
up, Brandon?
Brandon. Do you get a lot of snow out there? We got some snow. Icy stuff, too. Brandon's in our area, and it's like it was icy yesterday.
Yeah, we were all slipping down our stairs.
Yep. That's how I'm feeling. Weekend streams. Stuff might be seen. That makes it easier. Yes. Yeah. I think it'd be fun to go back to the couch.
Taxation is indeed theft.
It is. It is. It is. You're welcome,
Matt is
Matt.
here.
Yay. Oh no, I saw him and I was like,
He's got a black and white profile picture.
oh, does he?
That's why it's invisible.
Oh, he does. That's invisible there. Okay. Sure. Yeah, definitely. Tell me your real name and I'll see if I can pronounce it. He did. He didn't shave it. He trimmed it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just shorter now.
It figures as soon as I trim it, it starts snowing.
I know, right? That's
But
why.
that's
it
why
snowed.
I didn't.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't shave all of it.
Tony, how are you? Are you in America? Or are you in Canada?
Tony, I sent your friend a message, and it's probably filed away where she can't see it.
Let's see. Mary would
Vigo.
be upset if you lost the cocaine in a boating accident.
You mean like
Do
Vigo the
cocaine.
Carpathian?
Is it Vigo? It's Norwegian.
It's Carpathian.
Who? Oh, that's from
Ghostbusters 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. All right. Mary's going to try to pronounce the name. That's cute. Oh gosh, I'm so excited. It's Friday. I'm really happy. It's snowy here. Yeah, Brandon, you got all the snow. We got, I don't know, some or I don't know. What do you say? There's like
we can't complain
a
about this
foot.
winter.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
complaining at all. At all. That's why I'm like, oh, it's kind of nice. It's
Yeah.
pretty. It's a weekend. We can be home together, cuddle, snuggle. You know, maybe do a puzzle with the kids. You know, let them play outside.
UZZ.
What's that? Oh
Puzzle.
yeah, yep. A pizzuzzle.
Puzzle.
That physician, you know, a
Physician.
physician and then physician. Oh gosh. You are in America.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
good.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I told her
what?
9:45, so if you want to
Sure.
segue.
Yep, that's totally fine. We're going to be bringing on our guest for tonight. Her name is Hannah
check.
Cox. And for those who don't know, we talked about it right at the very beginning of the show. She's the national manager at Conservatives Concerned About the Death Penalty. I have to read that one each time because I don't want to get it wrong.
And
so.
Newsmax Insider.
And
She writes articles for
yes.
Newsmax.
Newsmax, yep. So, are we going to go to a commercial? Not
Yeah,
a
we'll
commercial,
do
but
that.
just take a moment,
we'll go
and
to
then
our
we'll come
bumper.
back, and we'll be right back with Hannah Cox. Get my earbuds.
Yeah, we can't hear each
Hi.
other. Hold on a second.
I can hear her now.
Oh, you can
See,
hear us
It's
now?
because the bumper was on.
That's weird. I don't know what I did there.
Music, hear people behind it.
Okay. Yay! All right, this is exciting.
on.
Do you mind? Can you turn her up in my ear just a little bit, Dave?
Mhm.
All
Introduce
right.
her.
What's that?
Introduce her again.
Yes, I am going to. Hannah Cox, everybody. We're so glad to have you here. Now, I have to read the name off a piece of paper because I don't want to get it wrong, but you are the national manager of the CCA TDP. That is a mouthful of letters, but it is conservatives concerned about the death penalty. And you're also a contributor to Newsmax. So we're really excited to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm Mary, by the way. I don't think we haven't really connected at all. I know you've been talking to Dave, and you guys.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, she does most of the talking. She's a great conversationalist.
Wonderful. Good to meet you.
Well, we're excited. So, can you tell us a little bit, or a lot, I suppose, about the CCA TDP? Can you share with us what it is, and then we can go back to how you got started?
Sure. So the acronym you're saying is actually Conservatives Concerned About the Death Penalty. So we kind of shorten it to CCA-TDP or to Conservatives Concerned. Because it's a bit of a mouthful. And it's a bit of a mouthful because it was started pretty organically by some grassroots conservatives in Montana who felt really strongly that conservatives should be opposed to the death penalty. There were a lot of problems with the death penalty and reasons that it didn't align with conservative values. A lot of them felt very strongly with life views and thought that that should be applicable all the way from birth through natural death. And so they started calling themselves this in Montana around the legislature and just loosely organizing under this banner. And it really took off very quickly. So we went national in 2013. We are now in 14 states. And we are consistently just working to educate other people on the right-wing side of the spectrum, libertarians, conservatives, everybody under the big tent, about the reasons that we think this is a failed big government program.
That's great. That's fantastic. Now, the death penalty, I mean, do you feel like it's kind of a hot button issue? I mean, you know, people that I talk to about it, they're either very for it or very against it. So do you find that when you're talking with people?
Yeah, it's an emotional issue. I think it's something that most people have a gut instinct reaction to. I know I personally did. I used to be very pro death penalty. I think people either think it's inherently wrong and that it's unethical to kill people no matter what, or they think that it's just and that it's prudent and that it maybe deters violence or the victims' families want it. And so they kind of pick an opinion and stick to it. And so it's definitely a very heated discussion. But what I've found is that over the years of working on this issue, the majority of people have really just never sat down and looked at how the death penalty operates. I know that I hadn't either until I was asked to do so a number of years ago, somewhat randomly, and was really surprised at what I found. So typically when we start talking about the reasons that we think conservatives should be worried about this, within the time spans of like an elevator pitch, I really can talk most people off a ledge with it because the facts are just so damning.
Yes. Now, tell us how you got involved, because you mentioned that you used to be pro death penalty. So where did that change, and then how did you get involved with this group?
Sure. So I have a really weird background. I was in the music industry. I had no intention of being in politics. And I was working for a Second Amendment group on the side and just really fell in love with policy and with working around some other issues that I really kind of cared about a lot. And so I was sort of taking some time while I was still working in the music industry just to explore other avenues of politics and figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And I started volunteering for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So I was very passionate about mental health issues. And it was during the course of that work that I started really encountering the criminal justice system for the first time. There's a lot of overlap with mental health issues and people in the justice system. And they were actually looking at participating in a bill that would exclude people with the most severe mental illnesses from the death penalty. So it wasn't full abolition, but it was going to basically create another protected class, similarly to how juveniles cannot be executed and people with intellectual disabilities cannot be executed. And I said, oh gosh, no, I can't work on that issue for you guys. I'm pro bono, I just work on issues I agree with, and I'm not with you on that. And it really surprised people because most of the people at NAMI were pretty left-wing, and they knew that I was kind of, very, very limited government, kind of extreme in that. And they said, we don't get it. You're the limited government person. Why do you think that the government should be able to kill people? You don't think the government can deliver them mail? And it was really just a flipping of the framing for me for the first time. And so I agreed to start just simply researching it. And when I started finding out some of the factors around it, just things like how many people had been wrongfully convicted, how often this was still happening, how much money we were spending on it. I knew it was expensive, but like most proponents, I thought that was because it took too long. So I was surprised to find out it was actually the trial that cost so much. It wasn't the appellate process for the length of the time that they were on death row. I started recognizing what an opportunity cost that was, that it wasn't a deterrent. and therefore that we were wasting a lot of extra money on a system that wasn't making people safer and wasn't solving more crimes and that was frequently wrongfully convicting people. So those were some of the first things that really got my attention, and then it just goes down from there. It's an iceberg of problems.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the ones at the top of the surface, but when you start digging into the data, there's all kinds of issues with who gets the death penalty, how is it actually applied, and there's a lot of socioeconomic bias within it, there's a lot of racial bias within it, there's a lot of geography bias within it. It's really only about 2% of counties that bring the majority of death penalty cases, and so this notion of this being reserved for the worst of the worst just doesn't bear weight at all. In fact, it really just the town where it was committed. And so there was just endless problems. And then I think almost most importantly, I started meeting a lot of murder victims' family members who were opposed to it. And that really surprised me because I had always thought that all victims wanted it. I thought that I would want it if I were in their shoes. And what I found was that a lot of them were adamantly opposed and felt that it was something that had actually compounded their tragedy and even prolonged their suffering in a lot of ways. And
wow.
So that really got my attention and made me start thinking about it differently. So I won't say I changed my opinion on it overnight. I first became convinced we needed an exclusion for people with mental illness. And then as I kept working around it, I just did realize that, you know, as a conservative, libertarian-leaning conservative, but as someone in this school of thought, I believe in a limited government because I know that the government is fallible. I know it's prone to corruption. I know it's ineffective and inefficient. And so for some reason, for a long time, we've kind of held the Justice Department as this one exception to that. And it's not true. It's by no means excluded from those same problems.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I love everything you just said, you know?
That's the key. Government messes up a lot, and if one innocent person dies, that's
one too many.
Deal breaker.
Yeah. Do you have any facts that, you know, you have memorized that you could just say, you know, numbers-wise, you know, for
I do.
us?
I have some numbers in my head.
I'm afraid to hear the numbers.
Yeah, they're not good.
No.
The innocence numbers, I think they're the most shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows that there's innocence issues in the system, but I don't think most people know just how prevalent it is. So we've had one person exonerated from death row for every 9 executions in this country. That is not the result of the system catching itself. That is not really what the appellate process does. They're more so looking at procedural issues and things of that nature. And in fact, oftentimes the appellate process will really try to prevent new evidence from being introduced or even tested before they execute somebody. So typically when we're finding these wrongful convictions, it's the result of outside groups like the Innocence Project coming in and working pro bono.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
1 in 9 is staggering, but that's just what we found. I feel confident there's even more. And that also, that number doesn't include people whose trials have been reversed or dismissed or returned and just weren't fully exonerated. Exonerated is another level of proving a wrongful conviction. And so there's even more cases that we've discovered than that. So I think that that's terrifying.
Absolutely. It could happen to any one of us. I mean, it could just wrong place, really wrong time, and then they just decide.
I think I went to either your Facebook page or your site, and the first thing you see is just some lady like, I knew that was the guy who did it.
Oh.
You know, and
yeah. And oftentimes when people hear that number, they think that those are old cases, right? That happened before the implementation of DNA evidence.
Oh,
nothing
right.
Could be we still only have DNA evidence present in about 10% of cases. And when it comes to the wrongful convictions we've discovered, the misapplication of forensic science has actually been responsible in about 45% of those. And so DNA is not nearly as conclusive as CSI or Law and Order would lead you to believe. Many problems are often not testing full portions. There's been a lot of corruption in labs. There's been false testimony. There's been a lot of fake science, things that we once thought were foolproof, like bite mark evidence or microscopic hair analysis that have been now just totally debunked and thrown out as junk science. But that doesn't mean we come back to those cases where that's been used to convict someone and re-examine it. So there's a lot of problems with DNA, and it's certainly not something where we're in this new era that wrongful convictions will no longer happen.
Yeah. Mike wanted to know, now, I don't know, how long did you say that you have been at this? Because he wanted to know if you watched Making a Murderer, or is it Making a Murderer? Is that what it is? Did you watch that at all?
I have seen just about every true crime podcast and documentary and TV show. Yeah, this is my life, so
yeah.
I did see it. I got involved with the mental health piece around this in 2015, 2016. I've been running this organization since 2018.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh my gosh. I want to read just a couple of the comments because they're kind of coming in. You have The Right to Remain Innocent is a great book about police practices that lead to wrongful convictions. It's very, very scary, but you kind of have to know for yourself, like know the law for yourself, but then if something, I don't understand how people are put to death. I mean, murdered, by the government. I don't know. That just seems really.
Well, I think if you start looking into how the cases go down, it's actually not surprising that people are murdered when they're innocent. And it starts from the very way that we do policing. So we tend to value victims differently, first and foremost. So when I mentioned that there's racial bias within the system, we see that you're incrementally more likely to get the death penalty if you kill a white person than if you kill a black person or a Hispanic person. In Louisiana, that's 96% times more likely. In California, it's 3 times more likely. But across the nation, that holds up. We're working in Colorado right now. They have had 529 death-eligible cases since reinstatement in the 70s. They only have 3 people of those on their death row. They're all black men, and they all went to the same high school. They're all from the exact same county. And so we see these counties that are higher usage counties. Like I mentioned, only 2% of counties are bringing the majority of death penalty cases.
Yeah.
And since reinstatement, all executions have come from 16% of our nation's counties. And so you have these counties that are really high usage. You also have these high-profile cases. Usually if there's a white victim, especially if there is a person of color who's the defendant and there's a white victim, that really ups the odds. And they then decide that we're going to spend a lot of money to basically pursue a capital trial here. And they put a lot of investment and time into that. And so the state has a vested interest with getting that conviction. They're not always looking for truth. I would actually suggest they're really looking for truth. They're looking for a conviction. They're looking for an answer. And they're usually more high-profile DAs that use death penalty cases to build their resume and hopefully run for a higher office down the road. That's kind of their career trajectory. Once you get into the process, we typically see people who get the death penalty are people of lower socioeconomic means. They're typically people who can't afford a good attorney. Yeah. And so a lot of these people are given public defenders. And our nation's public defenders are amazing attorneys, but we all know that their offices are strapped for cash. They're far overburdened. I wrote an article about this a few months ago about the typical caseload for a public defender. And it's daunting. There's no way anyone could properly represent this many cases at once. And so they don't get adequate counsel. And then once they get the actual conviction, there are actual real hurdles to getting new evidence introduced, to getting new DNA tested, to basically trying to come in and prove that you were wrongfully convicted. In Georgia, over the past year, they've had 2 cases where they've executed people that had DNA evidence that they would not test before they executed them. And a lot of that traces back to a 1996 or 7 bill that was passed that basically intentionally put some of these hurdles in place so that the death penalty process would be sped up for victims' family members and not place so much hardship on them. But what it essentially did was made it much harder to prove that you were wrongfully convicted. And so when you really get into the weeds of it, it's actually not surprising that so many people are wrongfully convicted and have such a hard time getting out.
Yeah. Wow, that's enraging.
Now, I have a question. Like, doing this, do you actually come in contact with cases, or are you just kind of going off the data, or do you talk to people? Are you involved in any of these?
Yeah, we get pretty involved with the cases. I mean, my job is mostly as an educational person, as a spokesperson, and somewhat of a lobbyist. We do work on some legislation in the states to repeal it. But certainly we get tons of requests from the cases, from the attorneys looking for help. We participate in clemency pleas. We have done 2 amicus briefs in the past year on behalf of people who have had execution dates. So we'll certainly get in the weeds and try as much as we can to help with these cases as well.
Wow.
I feel like
that'd be heavy.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. You mentioned how a lot of the victims' families don't actually want this, and then that they wrote into that law to speed up the process to help the victim's family. But really, that's not what they're going for, because they just want that conviction. Oh my gosh, this is
just want to close it up.
Really terrible. This is just, hi Strider. Sorry, I'm saying hi.
Yeah, we greet people.
Yeah, we like to say hi.
Parties, right? I have like the most depressing data ever. But no, they often use these excuses that it's for the victims' families. And one of the most infuriating things to watch, actually, when we're working in a state is how much they'll say that, but then how they actually treat the victims' family members who show up and don't want it. And I've seen this 2 sessions in a row now. Last year, we passed a bill in New Hampshire to repeal. Our sponsor in the House is an amazing legislator, Rennie Cushing in New Hampshire. Shout out to Rennie. He is a 2-time murder victim's family member. He lost his father and brother in 2 separate incidents, actually, wow. 2 homicide. And he has been bringing this bill for year after year after year. And last year, in every committee that we had, I would say there was at least 35 to 40 victims' family members who showed up who did not want the death penalty and who were showing up to testify against it and to talk about the reasons it had harmed them. Some of them had been through the process. Others, as I mentioned, we don't solve a lot of cases in this country, only about a 51% average homicide clearance rate. So a lot of them had never had their lover's killer caught. And I would blame the death penalty for that because the money we're wasting on it. It's money that we're not solving more crimes with. And so they would stand and give their testimony. And then these prosecutors, sometimes AGs, and there was one other victim family member who did want it, who would show up, would have the audacity to come in and basically allege that this was for the victims, this was for the victims' family members, and how dare you try to, and it's like, you're not listening to the victims' family members who are here in mass saying that they don't want it, and you're not, you're addressing the sponsor right now, who himself is a murder victim's family member, and telling him that victims need this. Like, how dare you show up and say that? We saw it in Colorado. I was there for the Senate 2 weeks ago. We had over 65 murder victims' family members who signed a letter asking the Senate to repeal the death penalty. There is one senator there who is a murder victims' family member who's in favor of the death penalty, and they really sort of pitted her against them, all of these people. Wow. But the people who were voting against us consistently said, these people don't care about murder victims' family members. These people haven't talked to the victims. They didn't come to the press conference we had in the lobby of the Capitol with those victims that morning. And then when the victims were giving testimony in committee, 2 of the representatives who were against us and who said those kinds of comments got up and left. They didn't even sit there to listen to the victims. So there's a lot of disrespect that happens, I think, towards people who are opposed to this. That's probably the most grating part I've seen in this work, actually.
That is wild. Like, you should want this, Oh my gosh.
I know it's sexy.
Yeah, I can't imagine losing somebody to, like if something happened to Dave and, he was murdered by somebody. I mean, I can't even put myself in those people's shoes at all. But I also don't know how killing someone else is going to. And maybe that's just, I don't know. I mean,
ahead of time, you always think that you want revenge.
Yeah. I mean, you think like, oh,
I've never been in this situation.
Yeah. But I'd like to think that I would eventually forgive, but I'm not say eye for an eye. Now you have to die, kind of thing.
Right.
Like,
and a victim's family members approach this from a lot of different perspectives. I don't think all of them come at this from a place of stoicism or having even forgiven, but more so of saying, like, this didn't give me the tools that I needed to start rebuilding my life, to try to start healing. It kept me in this kind of open wound where I was constantly having to go in and out of court for decades and not really getting a verdict that was for sure. Or some of them had even been all the way through the process and had been promised by law enforcement and prosecutors, like, this will give you closure and this will make it better. And then they got there and were just so let down because it didn't actually provide them with that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of nuance to how victims feel about it. But certainly in my experience, we've seen a lot more victims opposed to it than for it, but they often are silenced and not given the same platform as people who do want it.
Yeah. Wow. That happens a lot in different ways. If it doesn't go with what the government is, supporting and trying to push their narrative, you find ways to not be heard, or they find ways for you to not be heard. I want to ask you, you said that you were doing something with the Second Amendment. Was it with the Second Amendment Center, or were you like a group or?
My first job in politics was with the Tennessee Firearms Association, which was a group formed because the NRA was not doing their job.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, they haven't really recovered either.
No. And now, how did you get into that? What prompted you, to...
like I said, I was in the music industry. I wasn't really looking to go into politics. I quite literally stumbled into it. I didn't really enjoy being in the music business. So I was considering going back to school, either to go to law school or perhaps go into some sort of mental health field, and just wanted to make sure I would actually like the day to day. And so I was looking for something I could sort of do on the side of my full-time job in the music industry, and saw this Second Amendment group that was an attorney that ran it. I thought, like, I could work alongside him. I could do on the side of my job. I like the Second Amendment. I mean, it was very like, I can do this.
Sure.
I had the confidence of like a straight white male. I was just like, sure, I can do this. Why
not? I can totally do this.
And I went in, I got it, and I really enjoyed the work, and realized that I really wanted to do policy more so than actually practice law. And so it was kind of my springboard, but it also was something that really pushed me into figuring out what I believed a bit more in depth, because I had just been raised. I mean, I was given a good education by my parents. I think I'm homeschooled, so I had a good framework for government. But yeah,
we homeschool our kids.
I love homeschooling, but I hadn't really ever thought about politics outside of what they thought. You know, I was kind of like your typical happy little neocon. I loved Fox News and John McCain, and like I just
it happens. Yep.
And so when I was working for the Second Amendment group, I was speaking a lot, and speaking to a lot of right-wing groups, and really seeing a lot of the populism that I think came to the surface in 2016, but it was sort of already there at the grassroots level with a lot of the Tea Party groups. And so as I was speaking and I was being asked about some of these things, I quickly recognized that I didn't align totally with what Republicans were saying. And so it made me go do my research. It pushed me into starting to read economics, and got into the Austrian School of Economics, and then really figured out what my principles were. So it was a very good thing for me. And also it made me realize that as much as I wanted to be in politics, I was not someone who could just be in it to be in it, that I really had to believe in what I was doing. Mm-hmm. It knocked out most politicians that I'd want to work for after that. And so I just took my time. For 2 years, I kept working in the music industry and just tried my hand at different things. And like I said, I did some pro bono lobbying for NAMI because I was interested in mental health issues. I started writing. I started working around some campaigns. Hated that, so I got away from it really fast. And yeah, it just gave me time to really build my resume and figure out what I was good at, what my strengths were, and what I was most attracted to. And so in 2016, I started working full-time for the Beacon Center of Tennessee, which was a free market think tank in the state. And so got to do some great pro bono litigation around economic liberty, and some really cool legislation around economic issues as well. But during that time, I also was running the group that was seeking an exclusion from the death penalty for people with mental illness in the state. So I kind of started dabbling in the death penalty through that for a couple of years, and that was an ABA initiative, and then moved full time into this role in 2018.
Go ahead.
No, I was kind of researching a little bit today, and I saw your name associated with Taylor Swift at one point.
That was internship.
Okay.
I'm surprised my name comes up with that. I interned for Taylor Swift when I was like 19, and I think she was on her second album, and we were in a little house on Music Row. I was with her management, and it was weird. It was
Wow, that's very cool. I didn't know that. You saved that for...
No one's ever asked me that in an interview before.
Hey, our interviews were different. We're...
really good researching skills.
That's what I said. I'm like, it was kind of vague, but I'm just like, just as Taylor Swift.
Have to ask. Okay, so speaking of music, what did you do with the music industry? You said you were into the music industry. What were you doing? Yeah. How did that come about for you?
Well, I was a musical theater kid growing up, and there's a school in Nashville called Belmont University that is right on Music Row. It's had a lot of pretty well-known country singers come out of it, and they have a unique program where you can get a business degree. So you're not up a creek if you decide that you don't want to stay in music. It's not like a performance degree. But you still intern on Music Row, and you take a lot of classes that focus around the music industry. And so if you're someone who wants to be an artist, this is something where you would have a much better framework for making sure you didn't sign, sharp contracts and things like that.
Sure.
I learned a lot about management and PR and things like that. So it was a very unique college experience. While I was there, I did intern with Taylor Swift. I interned for then her label after that, a couple publishing companies in town. And then I also ran a student organization that sort of staffed large-scale music industry events. So we did a lot of red carpets and radio remotes and things like Tim Penn South songwriter festivals and things like that in town. And that sort of led when I graduated to working for Entertainment One, which is a really large international company, kind of like a Sony. They have TV and film and music, and they're all over the place. So I worked for them for 5 years after I graduated and before I moved into politics full time, and started off doing events for them and ended up doing music licensing, which is where you're placing songs in like TV shows and films. And
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like I
Kinda
haven't
ran the
figured out for YouTube yet.
Oh, yeah.
Keep getting in, keep
Oh,
getting in
yeah.
trouble.
We just want to
This
play
whole
the song.
licensing
We just
thing.
like the song.
yeah. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah, I got my first strike the other day.
Yeah.
That's the only revenue stream. Everything else is dried up, so they're going to come after you.
Oh, for sure. So what was the turning point for you? Where you felt you wanted to step back, or you just kind of fell out of love with doing that kind of work, or you wanted to find something different?
I think there was a couple turning points. I was an artist, and I had a big meeting with a A&R person with one of the big labels there. And we were kind of talking like, what would a deal look like? What would a development deal look like? And he was just straight shooting with me, and he was like, here's the deal. Like, you know, you're going to go through all this. You're going to make like this little amount of money for 2 years and see how your sales do. And like, if you get that, then we'll talk a deal. But, you know, here's the deal. We haven't broke a female country artist in a decade. And he was like, Taylor Swift is one exception, which everybody knew. But she was unique. She had a lot of funding behind her and kind of built a label for herself. So it was a very unique circumstance. And so I started studying the charts and just realized that he was absolutely right. They still to this day have not really broken a female country artist. Radio just doesn't play them. Yeah. So it's a very weird industry in that way. There was a lot of sexual harassment in the industry that I just like did not have the patience for whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, I just really didn't like it. I think it was something I'd always wanted to do, and then you get up close behind the scenes, and it's really fun and glamorous and you know, amazing to check off your list. But
Sure.
as far as day in and day out of it, I just didn't feel a lot of purpose from it, and I felt like I had so many other talents and things that I did care about and things that I could do that that had similar facets for why I was attracted to music in the first place, which was the ability to connect with people and the ability to maybe move people emotionally and change their perspectives on things. And so I saw a lot of commonality with other industries in that, and I thought I can do better than this. So
fantastic. That's great though, because that you wanted to connect with people and you wanted to move people and stuff. And now where you are, I'm absolutely sure that it's happening for you. More so than it would have, you know, in the music industry. Is music what you dreamt of when you were younger, when you were a child? Did you say I want to grow up and be, you know, a singer-songwriter kind of thing?
I sort of, yes, that was one thing I wanted to be. I kind of was like the girl in the bell jar by Sylvia Plath underneath the fig tree that just sort of is paralyzed by wanting every different pathway she envisions for her life.
Yeah.
And
that's our son,
and dying at her feet because she can't pick. That's how I felt. So music was one thing I loved and wanted, and it's sort of what I had settled on, but I also felt like I wanted to be a therapist, and I wanted to be an attorney, and I wanted to be president, and I just wanted everything. So I had picked music for school. It was the thing I wanted most, I guess. So I'm so glad I did that. I got to do amazing things in college. You know, I remember at one point I was working the Grammys red carpet, and I was like, I'm 22 on the Grammys red carpet. This
wow.
Oh, that's
wow.
Like,
these experiences I would never have had, and I'm glad that I never have to look back and wonder what if, and, you know, had to kind of explore that and check it off my list and then move on to something else I love.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because then you don't have to think, oh, what if I had pursued that? And you know, now you know that you did, you had a good time, you learned about it, and you decided it wasn't for you. So
and it seems like even though you went to school for it, it does help you in your profession now, you know, the marketing and the management and
there's
promoting.
So many crossovers, you know, especially I always think back to all my time working red carpets and getting other artists through their interviews and getting them up to speed on their talking points and really coaching them. And so now it's me doing the interview. So a lot of that absolutely fed into it. And certainly the marketing aspect of it, a lot of the promotion aspects. I think all of that definitely feeds into what we do.
For sure. If I want to circle back around real quick because I wrote this down, but you talk about people on death row and with mental illness, and what is the percentage there that we're looking at of people who have a mental illness that are waiting to be executed or have been, what's that
it's
look
a
like?
little hard to say precisely because of HIPAA. So, and also, well,
Sure.
We estimate there's about 20%, but I'll break that down. So, the problems that people with mental health face when they go into the justice system, whether it's for a capital trial or not, is that when you have a severe mental illness, which is a different classification in the DSM-5, and that would include things like schizophrenia, bipolar with psychosis, things that are actually altering your perception of reality. A component of those diseases is called anosognosia, and it's a component that actually prevents the victim from being self-aware of their own illness. And so because of that, you'll often see them fire their attorney on a whim. They'll try to represent themselves. And even though mental health is a mitigating factor, they will seek to prevent it from being brought up because they do not believe it to be true, adamantly.
Yep. Yeah.
And so even when it is obviously true, it's not always even in the record. And then often on top of that, it's either protected or who knows. So it's a little bit hard to say exactly, but we do know there's a lot of problems with mental health. And I think the most recent estimate for mental health in America is still 20% of people on death row.
Now, what are your thoughts on just people going to, let's take away the death penalty for a minute and just talk about prison for a second. Just your thoughts on people going to prison for, let's say, drugs or, whatever. Who did we talk to last week? Mark Whitney. For tax evasion, went to federal prison, and it's like, wow, you're in there with some hardened criminals, but what are your thoughts on just the whole prison system itself? Do you think that they're helping or hindering? Do you think there should be other things available to people to rehabilitate them, or maybe just like no victim, no crime kind of thing,
How libertarian are you?
I'm just curious myself and not my organization, since that's a little bit outside of our purview. But personally, I'm very libertarian in most of my views, and we represent many libertarians as well as conservatives, and so we kind of run the gamut. But my views fall closer to that side of the aisle, and I think that as a whole, victimless crimes need to be abolished. I think if you are someone who has proven that you are going to be ongoingly violent and cannot be released back into society, I think we have more than enough methods to ensure that society is protected from you without the death penalty. So I'm not against some forms of life or long prison sentences to try to address what I think are ongoing or undercurrents of violence. But as a whole, I think we have a vast amount of people who should never have been in the criminal system to begin with. And so I think there's a lot of laws that need to be overturned. And I think for nonviolent crimes that do have a victim, there are much cheaper ways for us to actually find restitution and to get justice there than spending $30,000 a year to incarcerate them and then take away their ability to earn a livelihood effectively when they come out.
Yeah. That's
to contribute to society instead of going right back into the cycle.
Well,
Exactly.
we work a lot on, I'll note this, we are a project actually of a larger organization called Equal Justice USA. And they are, I think they're so innovative. I really love our relationship and working with them. And they're doing a lot of very groundbreaking work around trauma-informed responses to violence, violence disruption, harm reduction, and looking at, what are the factors that lead to someone becoming violent? How do we interrupt them before they actually occur? And how can we, when they do occur, move towards a system of restorative justice where people are actually getting what they need, where victims are getting what they need, where the community that's harmed is getting what it needs, and also where the perpetrator is getting what they need to address those underlying causes of violence so that they can actually heal from that and hopefully become full productive people again. And I think so much of the conversation we're having in criminal justice these days is great and it's needed, but it so often focuses on reentry and workforce development. And I think that's still just treating a symptom of the problem. I don't think we're actually getting to the real root of the problem. And the fact is, we don't end mass incarceration. We don't really start to make a dent in the justice system until we start talking about violence. Because there's a lot of people in the prisons that were violent, that did commit violent crimes, that are guilty.
Sure.
And so we have to start actually looking at what we could do differently if we want to lower our crime rates, if we want to actually make our communities safer, if we want to have a more effective system that actually heals people and produces people that come out well on the other side. Right now, I think we have the opposite.
I think so. I was just reading Ryan's I'm sorry. If we ever smile like when we're not supposed to be smiling, it's because we read a comment or something. Or if I make hand gestures to people like bye or hi, you know, kind of thing. So I'm not like waving you on. I'm doing one of these low key like hello to people. Yeah, Ryan, I'm gonna read your comment just because it's just that crazy. But we should send criminals to a big hot island with giant rabbits that hop around on two legs. I don't think that works.
That's common form, but thanks for the suggestion.
He's talking about Australia.
He is talking about Australia. Yeah.
It took me a minute.
Oh, okay, Dave. You got it, babe.
I'm like giant rabbits.
Yeah, no, he's just joking around. He's kidding. He's one of our regulars. So, I do feel. I mean, there are people obviously who have committed crimes and that they should be held accountable, you know, for their crimes. I don't think that murdering them is the answer, but I do think that for the folks who, like you were saying, you know, come back into society after being in jail, or maybe it's not jail, you know, maybe they didn't do something that they should go to jail for, you know, like.
See, I'm a little different because I think sometimes murdering them is the answer, but I just don't want the government to be in control of it.
Okay.
I don't trust them.
I definitely
to
don't
wield
trust
that
the
power.
government.
But I'm not exactly sure.
I'm not against it in theory, but as far as how it operates in practice, this isn't okay, and I can't do this, and I'm fine with that too. You can join our club.
Right. Yeah, and I think I saw a lot of people saying that too, because somebody posted an article, and they were saying like, I'm for it, but just not the government being in control of it or choosing who gets to, or oh, I'm sorry, Mike Harwood. His comments don't get read to guests. I'm sorry. We like to interact with our audience. You know, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, kind of our thing.
Yeah, it's just how we roll. So, but that's the whole connection thing. We like to connect with people, our guests, and the people who are watching and stuff. We've made some really great friends. So, I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Got derailed?
I did get derailed. What were we talking about? We were talking about jail and things, and then I had a thought, but I can't remember. Okay, so I'm just going to go this way because this is how I roll.
She's good.
I like to get to know people. So, how has your new year been? Have you been having a good 2020 so far?
I have. I just moved to New York City about 2 months ago, and I've been here collectively like maybe 15 days. So it's been very busy.
Yes.
We have been off to a really big start. Last year, we had 10 states that have Republican-sponsored bills to repeal the death penalty. We had about 56 state conservative Republicans sign on as sponsors for those. And this year, it's looking like we're going to hit similar numbers. So we've already had several bills introduced. Within the past, since the new year, we have launched a new conservative concern group in Louisiana. We have passed a bill out of the Senate in Colorado. We are getting ready for another bill to drop in Wyoming on Monday or Tuesday of next week.
Wow.
And we'll move to the House in Colorado next week. We've got some big news coming out of Ohio on February 18th, so stay tuned for that. So we've had a very busy new year, and it's all been very positive and very exciting. I just think we're seeing a huge zeitgeist moment around this right now. We're seeing really favorable polls. Gallup poll found last year that 60% of Americans now want life in prison without parole over the death penalty. We see new death sentences are down about 60% since 2000. And last year ended up being the 5th in a row that we had fewer than 30 executions. All 22 of those came from 7 states, and about 40% were out of Texas alone. So we're increasingly dwindling down the amount of states which we're doing this. Only 25 states still have it at all. 21 have repealed it legislatively. 4 others have moratoriums either by their Supreme Court or their executives. And of those 25, over a third of them have not used it in a decade or more. So we're really like off in the races. It's winding down very quickly. I tell everyone that we work around it. It's really not a question of if that will be ends here. It's just when. I think most states will see it go away in the next 5 years. And then we will have a couple cleaner ones like Texas and Florida that will have to go to the coast eventually. But it's really moving very quickly. So there's no shortage of work around here, but it's all very
It sounds like things are going really well. I mean, it just compound, picking up speed and moving in a good direction for you guys.
Yeah, we've seen a tremendous amount of success. And we actually studied this. We have a report on our website people can check out called The Right Way. But we started studying the growth of the movement and started looking at the year 2000 and on. And when you really start looking at that point, there was hardly ever a Republican who would sponsor legislation. That was just not heard of for a Republican to come out with that kind of legislation. By 2012, though, it had more than doubled. And by 2016, we saw 10 times the amount of people, Republican state lawmakers, doing that. And that continues to pick up upwards. So I think that it really, I always say that legislature is about 10 years behind the culture. So the fact that we're at this point where we have such a proliferation of conservative lawmakers, not only voting in favor of these bills, but sponsoring them and leading it, I think that really shows you where the culture is moving.
That's wonderful. Oh man, look at you. I feel like
Ray's
you've
here.
really, hi Ray. You've really, you're good at this. Like you're
It's like you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, no, this is really very exciting. I wanna ask about you're a Newsmax insider. What is it that you do there, being involved with that?
Yeah, so we've had a partnership with Newsmax for a little over a year. So I have a blog there that I write called Life and Liberty. And a lot of that's just trying to educate people about all the things I've said here. I've told you a good bit, but there's still so much more with how this operates. And you can really dig into it. And I think a lot of it gets very interesting when you start actually looking at why did things operate this way? How did it lead to this? Or, even just the DNA issue alone, you could write 5 articles on because it's just fascinating what's happening with it. And so we really, I try to use that space to educate people about our work. Also just to educate people more broadly about the problems of the justice system as a whole. And really trying to flip the narrative on violence, because I think even once I started getting involved with criminal justice reform, I still had this dichotomy in my head of bad guy, good guy, victim, perpetrator. And one of the most really groundbreaking fundamental things for me when I'd been around it for a couple of years was when I first was told by a victim's family member, actually, that most people who committed murder were first victims themselves. And it was something that really just grabbed me all of a sudden. I thought, oh, you're right. I had never thought about it in that way. But you don't have this dichotomy. You see people who really typically play multiple roles in the justice system at different points in their lives. And oftentimes people start off being victimized themselves first. They usually have family members who have been murdered. They've been around murder. They've been traumatized by these things. And then it slowly compounds and they ultimately can become violent. We don't see people who just wake up and become violent for no reason. I think a lot of people picture these monsters. Everyone always brings up Ted Bundy because I think he's the only person in anybody's mind they can point to who is like that. But Ted Bundy is such an outlier in the system. That's not who we're dealing with. We're usually dealing with people who have had really tragic, terrible histories, have not gotten the help that they needed, and then the justice system makes it worse and compounds that and continues to push down. And so I think a lot of what our work is trying to rehumanize criminals in our society. So I think there's been a lot of dehumanizing. There's been a lot of shielding. The government has made sure to put a lot of these things behind closed doors and to make sure that people don't always see what's happening operationally behind the scenes. And so we try to use the Newsmax column to expose a lot of that and to really kind of shine a light on what's happening behind the scenes. And I know for people like my parents, my dad's a Southern Baptist minister. My parents were very productive as well. They did not love it when I took this job. And they've slowly been moving on this, my mom especially, because they're just waking up to all these things, and we just had no idea. We had no idea it was operating in this manner. We had no idea. And I think that's all it takes to really get people to change when it comes to not just death penalty, but criminal justice issues as a whole. It's just education and exposure.
So they're coming around, or have they already come around to accepting?
They haven't officially come out.
Okay.
But I think my mom's there. She's been sharing my articles, and actually, she got into a death penalty debate on Facebook the other day with somebody. And she texted me and said, "I got this. Don't prevent."
Wow.
So I think I've got her. My dad has been a little bit more subtle, but I think we're people again are just recognizing that no matter how you feel about it in theory, it's not working in practice. Mm-hmm. It's not something that's bringing any real results. It's wasting a ton of money. I mean, I just can't emphasize how much money we waste on this system. And again, it's just not a deterrent. And so that's money that we're not spending to actually work on programs that could more effectively deter crime, money that we're not spending on solving more crimes. I mentioned the homicide clearance rate, which is about 51% every year, which is abysmal. But it gets worse from there. Our rape clearance rate is in the 30s. Property crime is in the 19%. They're really good at solving drug crimes, it seems. But when it
Somebody
comes to
said that. Aaron Kentner said that. Sorry if I blew anyone's ears out, but yes, the drug. Oh, got it. Get the marijuana.
Yeah, I actually saw somebody in Tampa, some police force in Tampa busted 118 unlicensed contractors yesterday, and we're bragging about this. I'm like, okay, great. So you can get them, these poor people who just want to work and do an honest day's living, and you can get people who grow a plant, but you can't solve the actual violent crimes.
Right.
So I think it's a very frustrating system for a lot of people. I think a lot of people are sick of seeing our tax dollars used in this way.
You mean the government's wasting our money?
A lot of people are concerned about human trafficking too. Maybe you could work on that.
Yeah,
right.
There's so many other things that they could be looking into and doing.
And go solve more of these crimes.
Yeah. Yes. I want to ask. Do you watch Mindhunter on Netflix?
You know what? I've not watched Mindhunter. I have heard about that one.
Ooh,
So
that's one of the few we did.
A couple things you said made me think like, oh, I think she'd like it if she hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Really good show.
So I'll download it.
It's a really, really, really good show. I was addicted to it. It's only 2 seasons, and you'll binge it and be done. I hope they come back with more. They will. I think they've been signed on to do more. So
I lose track.
Yeah,
it's like when
I
something goes
check.
off for the season, and I forget that
I'm
I was
like,
even
did they
watching
get renewed?
There's a lot of good shows I've watched on Netflix, but I couldn't tell you what they were. I have no idea once they're done.
Yeah, I know. Well, even when I stopped watching it just for that season, I'm like, oh, I forgot. So, wait, maybe they could go after. Oh, okay, yes. Do you want to say it? I mean,
No, I can't.
Are you pointing at me?
No, I'm pointing at the comments because I can't react to YouTube comments
like
I can to Facebook.
I thought you were pointing
I
at
give
me.
them a physical thumbs up.
Like, yeah. Going after the pedophile rings. Oh, that they themselves run. Yes. Yeah, I do think that. But they're gonna go after themselves. Like, they're not gonna do that. Okay. Anyway.
No, drugs are easy to solve. They get more funding. They get more toys.
Yeah. Hey, David. So I want to ask. Tim in the comments had wondered about your faith and your beliefs. And growing up and maybe just has that shifted at all, or did that play a role in where you were and where you are?
Sure. I am a Christian. Like I mentioned, my dad's a Southern Baptist minister, so I was raised in that denomination. I would actually probably define myself a bit more Pentecostal than Southern Baptist at this point, but certainly have very Protestant beliefs. I would love to say that that's what changed my mind on this issue, because I wished it had, but I think it had just been so hammered into me that this was not only okay in my faith, but Southern Baptists really liked it up as a whole. Like it was
encouraged.
Yeah, they're like big on it. So it was a hard thing for me to change my mind on. Actually, I think it was one of those issues that I felt like I needed permission on almost. But can I still be a conservative? Definitely. And then when I first heard of my organization that I now run, I was like, oh my gosh, there is a whole organization of conservative opposed like you.
I'm not the only one.
I guess this is okay. So I kind of changed more on the principles and sort of slowly on it, and just the brokenness of the system as a whole. But I will say, I would always say to people I was working on for about 2 years while I was working on the mental health bill, I would kind of whisper and I'd be like, I'm bought in on this. Like, I'm totally anti-death penalty at this point. I want it to go away, but I just don't feel anything. Like, all these other people I work around seem to feel so much, and I don't. Am I okay? Like, I don't feel anything. Am I dead inside? It was when I actually finally heard an exoneree speak in person, Ray Crone, who was the 100th person exonerated, that something just clicked for me. It just really snapped into place. And I think maybe because Ray talks about his faith and how it got him through his 10 years that he's been on death row, innocent. The humanity of it sort of hit me. And I was like, hang on, like, I say that I think God can redeem anybody according to my beliefs. I say that I think I'm as bad as anybody else, that my sin is just as bad as anything else.
The chief of
and
sinners.
I think some people are disposable. Like, that doesn't that doesn't actually add up at all. And then as I was working around death rows more and more, seeing the actual stories of redemption, which they're there. We've worked with many people who've had amazing changes in their lives, who are still on death row, but still accomplished a lot of good. There was a guy that Tennessee executed last year, but he had been saved. He'd been there for decades. He had been actually made a deacon by an outside church. He had started leading a Bible study on death row that even the guards came to. Wow. And just, I think that, I don't think people should not be held accountable for their actions, but I think that God can still use people for good, even in those circumstances. And I think we always need to allow space for that. And I think we also need to be really, really mindful as Christians what we're really saying when we back up a system that essentially says some people are disposable or beyond redemption. I don't think that that's actually what I believe, and I think that that's a really big contradiction that more and more denominations are coming to, and hopefully will continue to.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, where you're being like libertarian and Christian, I'm like, try full blown anarchist and Christian. There's a lot of like internal struggle with that.
Yeah.
But I think I've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
Because I was raised Baptist too.
All right, so it's tough, but we do work
like fundamental, like.
Yeah, and we hear a lot of that still in the legislatures and from people who support this still, very much the eye for an eye, and that's something that I think still is a big component, especially in the South, in the Bible Belt, that we have to go up against and really try to re-educate people on.
I was raised Catholic, so I have a lot of guilt. No. And I'm not joking. I'm not saying that lightheartedly at all. Like, I know it's a thing, but it's a thing. I now just follow the Bible, and I don't call myself a thing.
It's like, forgiven. We're forgiven.
Yeah. And I'm just like, wait, you're not beating yourself up for that for 20 years? What do you mean?
The Catholics do so much good work, though. Like, they're my go-tos in every state. Like, I know the Catholics are going to show up on my side.
Right?
So,
yeah.
Catholics got it down when it comes to pro-life stuff.
I'm not knocking them at all. I want to say that because I know there's a couple in here.
And it's nice seeing somebody all around pro-life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even after the people are born, it's still nice to be pro-life.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Who we were talking to somebody, and being pro-life, and and I always thought pro-life was just not abortion. Like, no, you don't believe in aborting a baby, and I believe in life. So I've always been like, life happens at conception, and there's a baby there, and okay, so, but then somebody talked about, like, once the baby's out, though, what about that baby's life still? Was that Albany?
Albany Rose?
Yeah. That we were talking to, and it's like, there's still, you still got to be there and show support and love and care for, now that there's this person outside in the real world, like breathing in this air, and so we have to be there for them. And it's like, for some reason, my brain took a while to make the connection about, like, the death penalty, and being pro-life. And there I am, just like, I've for so long I've been pro-life, and I think since I really knew about abortion, I was like pro-life.
I've never applied the pro-life thing to the death penalty until just now.
Oh, okay. And it's like, but I'm pro-life, but how can I be pro-life if I'm just like, kill that person, so, I mean, I don't know. And I'm not against anybody who feels a different way. Please, I'm not judging. I still have
stuff on this subject to work through.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, like, some people need it.
Yeah.
What was it, Sling Blade? Some people need a killing.
I know. I know what you're saying, but so we'd like to grow and work through things and meet people like you, Hannah, so that this helps us as people really get into our brain and really think about what do we believe and how do we apply that, and where do we go? So
absolutely.
I want to make sure that right now, though we're not quite done yet, but do you have to go at any point? Like, do you need to be somewhere anytime soon?
I'm fine. My neighbors, like I said, I'm in New York City, so there's some music playing, but as long as it's not coming through.
Okay, no, that's totally fine.
I don't work tomorrow. We're gonna be. We're
I didn't my life in New York City.
Yeah, right. Those thin walls.
So you've only been there. You said you've been there a few months, but you've only been there like a few days.
Yeah, I don't feel like I officially live here. I don't really officially live here yet. I'm just subleasing, so I'm kind of in my transition period. But I moved here in November. I was here 9 days in December, and then I think last month I ended up being here like 15 days. So it's been a very fast-paced couple of months, and usually is during this time of year with all the legislative sessions. So
Now,
Yeah.
you're like right there in the city, right? Like,
yeah, I'm in Manhattan.
That's
I'm in the
wild.
thick of it. It
Now-
is wild.
Wow.
now you came
Wow.
from the South and stuff like that. Is this a
Yeah.
very big culture shock to you?
I think I've just traveled so much for so
Okay.
long. I mean, even in the music industry, I traveled a good bit for work, and then with this job, clearly I've traveled a lot as well. So I don't have a lot of culture shock. I've spent a good bit of time in New York over the years, but it is such a different way of life. I was in Louisiana earlier this week, and I had to rent a car to drive from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, and I was like, oh my gosh, do I know how to do this still? Like, it was quite terrifying because I just haven't driven really in
Right.
4 months. You
Oh,
just
wow.
get
Yeah.
it's just very different. Yeah, I mean, and if it's raining, you're like, oh, I'm not going out, because then you're out in it all. I mean, you're just in the elements so much
Wow.
more here. So there's a lot of really different lifestyle type things. I really like the people here. I think the stereotype that New Yorkers are mean and awful is just totally incorrect. I think they're like some of the best people you'll ever meet. And I tell people, one of the reasons I love New York is like, I've seen people have full on meltdowns. I mean, just like full on meltdowns in the middle of the street, and nobody blinks an eye. Like, it's like,
See? That's what I'm saying. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That's-
But if you're rude, that's when they'll stand up to you. So if New Yorkers are ever rude to you, it's because you're being rude and they're
Oh, no.
standing
Yep.
up for the crowd.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to leave you alone. So
Yes.
I love it.
See, now, okay, so I have anxiety, like, a lot. And when I go out, I get very anxious and stuff. But I feel like if I lived in New York, I know nobody gives a crap. You know, like, nobody cares about me. So I'll just walk down the street and I'll just know that no one is staring at me or
Because you're
judging me
never
or
going to
looking
have
at
a
me.
meltdown, but
Because-
that's your constant fear.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Like, what if I just lose my mind? Like, that's just part of the anxiety, is like, what if I just go crazy one day, you know? But I love that, though, because that is exactly what I think, is that just everyone's just busy living their own lives, and they're not going to judge you. They don't care. They're
Yeah.
just, please step out of my
They've
way so I
seen
can
worse.
get to where I'm going. And I think
And you'll
that's,
never see them. If you embarrass yourself, like, it does not matter, because you will never see that person again.
there
That's
you
another
go.
thing. Yeah, we're like a smaller city, so it's like, I've seen that guy a couple times.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim, thanks for
Yeah,
coming in.
it's been it's not too small, but small enough that, you know, I'm like, I might run into that
Yeah.
person.
Like our crazy, like, homeless people, like, you know, they're kind of endearing. But yeah, like the guy on like 12th
12th
and
Street
Sass,
that lives-
and
yeah.
they're like, everybody knows him, like
Yeah.
he's on Facebook and
Yep.
stuff, and, you know, it's like, yeah, if you
Yeah.
see him, he's a nice guy, toss him a pack of cigarettes, he likes that, and it's
Yeah.
like,
And that's so sad. They took away his bench because he was sleeping there so often. They were like, "We're gonna take that bench now." I'm just like,
Oh my
that,
gosh.
like, that's so mean. Like,
Yeah.
that's so mean.
yeah, he wasn't really causing trouble, he was just
He wasn't.
there.
He was just there, and people would. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so. That made me mad when they took away.
So then he
that,
moved
yeah.
across to the other corner. where
Yay!
there was a bench.
Good for him. Good for him. It is. It's
These are like small
ear-
town
yeah,
things.
just-
It's like,
We're not too
Yeah,
small, but
no, I'm from small town, so, and even when I go home now, my parents are in South Carolina at this point, and their town's very small, and like the amount that people know about you, about each other is daunting. Like, and I haven't lived there since I was 16, and people know a lot. So
sure.
So it's-
Oh, yeah. Gosh, I grew up before like social media and everything exploded. We didn't have the internet until I was probably like like junior, senior in high school, and we had email, and that was about it. And gosh, I sound so old right now.
well, that's what it is.
But it's the truth.
That's our generation. We experienced life before and after,
Yeah. So
and here we are rocking it.
yeah, but it's like I'm kind of grateful that I didn't have all of that, because I think there would just be so much
Perspective. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
and I wouldn't have been able to handle it at that point, because my anxiety would have been like
I
way
think
out
that
of
your
control.
anxiety would be through the roof.
Oh yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
we had plenty of like face-to-face antagonizing,
Oh,
bullying. you
yeah,
know? I
yeah.
can imagine going home and it continues.
Or the
Holy
you know
cow.
you knew at school somebody said he said she said, and then you're just like, guys, really, I don't want to deal with this.
Right.
I don't want to be a part of. I'm going to walk away. Yeah, I just now okay. Do you have like cyberbullying and all that kind of stuff, now that we're in this era, how do you feel about that kind of stuff? I mean, to me, it's just like, gosh, great. There's another way for kids to pick on kids. Yay, and form groups about hating so-and-so. And
Actually, I think I saw a post from you saying you're done with people and you're just going to start banning people. Is that you?
I was being cyberbullied.
oh my gosh, were
Yeah,
you
she's
really?
getting trolled or something. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I get a lot of cyberbullying actually, and always have. I mean, I kind of recognize like I step into the space. I'm a political person. I'm not very docile in my opinions, and so they tend to elicit strong feelings of people. But yeah, I've noticed that over the years. I didn't really grow up with social media either. It was kind of hitting as I was graduating high school. But certainly, I think you still see it even among adults. I've had people try to get me fired. I've had people call my boss and complain about things I've written.
Yep.
It's very divisive. So it's certainly something that you have to be a little bit aware of. I've had some creepy people from online, a couple of kind of stalking incidents. So I think you have to watch your back for sure. And just sort of and have parameters. I've gotten very good at blocking people. I'm really good at shutting it down and just learn to kind of have good guardrails for yourself and protect yourself.
Yeah, you have to.
I don't think I've ever blocked anybody, but we haven't really gotten that big. We kind of went viral once, and somebody didn't like what we were talking about because we were covering something that I just on a whim decided, hey, let's go live and cover this. And suddenly we had like 1,000 viewers, and this one guy didn't like what we were saying, so he started posting our address and phone number and name in the chat and saying if anybody wants to swat them, here's their address. And it's like, like wow, we're just little.
Like guys, no.
Actually, today from someone I don't remember his name, but he's an author who's had several well-known books and has probably a couple million people that follow him. And he was talking about we don't really want to be famous, and he was talking about all these incidents for people who have had very serious death threats. And he basically said, look at the size of your audience. If you have 5,000 people that follow you, let's look at this town that's 5,000 people, and how many violent incidents do they have, and how many people go off their meds at a certain time, and how many. And it really put in an interesting perspective of how big your audience is. At any given point, you could have someone that becomes volatile or that becomes dangerous within the audience. And so it is a reality that I think we have to be aware of. I'm consistently glad. It's one of those issues I'm really glad I don't have kids around, because I think it'd be much scarier if I did. But yeah, I think there's all kinds of problems. And then, of course, you have to balance that with, of course, the First Amendment and free speech and making sure that we protect that. And I think that I always, in all of my beliefs, err on the side of liberty and freedom. I'd rather have dangerous freedom than safe slavery. But I do think that something that, especially as a woman, I have to be very cognitive of. I would always carry in Nashville, and now I'm in New York that has robbed me of that right. So that's kind of frustrating. So yeah, I think you have to be on guard and just be really aware and keep your eye out for people that might not be totally stable.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that was our first and right away I'm like, I don't want to be famous, Mary.
Yeah, I was like, no.
I just want to keep this little. This is fun to do.
Just kidding.
Yeah. It was creepy. It was our first real experience with that. No, I was like, I don't like it. I did not like that at all.
No, terrifying.
Now, okay, so I know we have friends who live in New York, and it's
one of them offered you plastic bags if you needed a connection.
Yeah, Mike Harwood there. And Derek, yeah, he makes bags. So if you want,
I'll probably believe them.
Yeah,
as soon as I'm here,
yeah.
As soon as I can buy your
the whole plastic bag thing,
Yeah, that was the thing in our group.
Yeah. But now, okay, so you were able to carry in Tennessee, but not in New York. Do you have to? Is there like a time limit, or what is this? Like what, or is it?
Oh, right. I don't even know. It's very difficult to get a permit to carry a gun here.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even rent a house. It's I haven't looked into it extensively. I just know that from other things I've read and experiences, I think you probably have to show that you're either like security or law enforcement or something, or you're maybe a victim that has a viable threat of something of that nature. It's a very high burden to meet, and they're very strict about it. So it's really just something that the average person can't obtain in New York. So it's very weird. I always carried in Nashville, especially when I was working downtown and even out of the Capitol. We carry all the time, and so it's different being here and not having that right anymore. I actually texted a friend that does a lot of pro bono litigation. I'm like, if you want to sue over this, like,
Yeah.
I will be your plaintiff.
Please change this.
Yes.
Because you go from like, like I would picture relatively safe but still protected to suddenly just people everywhere, nuts everywhere, and now you're not allowed to protect yourself. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, like, New York is safer than Nashville, which shocks everybody, but Tennessee has really high violent crime rates, and Nashville does as well.
Oh wow.
Really?
And yes, and everyone always thinks it's just Memphis, but it is not just Memphis. So New York's violent crime rates are pretty low. I don't want to say they've done a good job cleaning up the city, because I hate a lot of the practices they used to do it, but they have seen a sharp decrease in.
They've
in
cleaned
violent
up the
crime.
city.
Well, I tell you, when we were
They
kids,
have-
it was like Detroit level. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very dangerous at one time, and so it's. I feel relatively safe here, but I think it just is the reality that you just never know. And not to get too personal here, but I did have a friend that was murdered in December, was a victim of domestic abuse,
ah,
Oh,
and she was shot to death. And so I think it always, especially, I mean, for anybody, but especially as a woman, a gun is the one thing that makes you equal. It's the one thing that actually gives you the ability to have a fighting chance against a man. And it's something that I think is a huge women's rights issue. And so it makes me quite angry that states like New York have been able to get away with this.
yeah.
I'm surprised that it's not been better constitutionally challenged. So again, the putting up the bat signal, I will be a plaintiff.
Yeah.
anybody wants to
Anybody?
put my name on there.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear about your friend. That's
Yeah.
awful. That is awful. And that is true. I mean, that gives you that
Just equalizer.
Yeah, equalizer there. Yeah, I can't even imagine. So I wonder, are things looking to change in New York, or is it just?
I don't know. They're banning plastic bags and large sodas.
Oh man, that's right.
I don't think it's looking
Yeah.
good.
I think they're going to keep going that way.
Yeah.
It's definitely very blue, very, very blue. And so I think that's the biggest sort of culture shock for me, is that I'm not surrounded by Republicans anymore.
Right.
Oh yeah. Now do you socialize? Or are you just still on your external network? Are you making friends?
It's funny because when I moved here, everyone's like, just don't tell people your politics. Just don't. I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell people.
Kind of can't not.
So I'm very open, but I think I tend to actually connect pretty well with liberals on a lot of things, because I do lean libertarian, and so I think we can find common ground on more than people realize. And I also just think I'm very used to having conversations with people who disagree with me by the very nature of my work, and so it's not something that makes me uncomfortable. So I think people find it refreshing, actually, when you're capable of having an educated discussion and not getting emotional about it, and you're able to be respectful of other people's views. I think it actually is something, it's so rare that people sort of tend to jump on it. So I've had some really fascinating conversations. I actually have found more like secret Second Amendment supporters in the city than I thought. So there's some
Yay.
underground resilience here, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's a big difference between talking to somebody face to face and on the internet, where everybody's just poop slinging.
Absolutely. No, that's wonderful, and I bet it is refreshing for them to have somebody actually
Listen,
like hear what they're saying, and maybe just offer your side, or just say like, oh, okay, like, but without that kind of like, well, here's what I think kind of thing, so
Right.
did you watch the State of the Union?
Yes.
I did. That's what I got trolled on.
Oh. So what are your thoughts on how that went down, and the whole, like, he snubbed her with the handshake and then she tore up the paper thing?
That's pretty much all we saw. We were streaming. We had it playing, but we weren't listening.
Yeah, but just like a lot of clapping and.
I'm so tired of people being mad for the wrong reasons in this country.
There you go.
I think that's always a frustrating thing to me, is that everybody has a side they were on for that, and I don't care. I mean, the policies are what I was interested in. I thought it was actually a pretty strong State of the Union. And look, I'm not a Trump person. I've been very open about that all along. I don't think he's a conservative. I don't think he aligns with many of the values and views that I have. But I think at the end of the day, he's done some things really right. He's cut regulations. He's appointed judges that continue to cut regulations. He has really gotten the government out of the way for our economy. We're doing very well in that aspect. I think the trade war is the one damper on that. If that would stop, we'd really be off to the races. I thought there were a lot of high points. He did a whole school choice piece, which I don't know of any other president who's ever come out totally in favor of school choice. Was talking about ESA vouchers, which I think is the best form of school choice. So
wow,
I was a huge fan of that. I really was impressed with a good bit of the speech. He touted his criminal justice reform, which again, it is a first step. It's named appropriately, but it is a very big first step, and it's a whole lot more than the past 4 presidents have gotten done combined. So he needs to be lauded for that. It needs to be encouraged. We want it to continue. I thought it took a real downward turn when he went off on immigrants. That's my really big red line in the sand with him. I think that it's totally a backward view when it comes to any sort of free market worldview or understanding of how economies work and build. And I also think it goes back to my pro-life views that I find it very dehumanizing the way he speaks about immigrants and the way that
for
he
sure.
sort of,
some
around
of them
them.
I sure are good people.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought it was a great speech. I think he'll be reelected. I don't think he's gonna have any trouble with that. I mean, Democrats can't count the caucus so far in Iowa, so
Bernie got too close. That's what happened there.
I think there's a lot of good things we can work with him on. I don't have to agree with him on everything to work with him, and hope to work with his administration on things we do agree on. So, as a whole, that was a very good speech.
I'll tell you what, it's really refreshing to talk to a real conservative. Usually we have like libertarians and stuff on here, and you identify as conservative, but to actually spout like conservative viewpoints is like really nice, because normally like all I see on the internet is just like, yeah, Trump, you snowflakes, it's like, and that's really all I see. Like I don't get any kind of like, why is he good? How is he helping?
Yeah.
And it's like I've heard a little bit, on the regulations and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, I like getting rid of some of those and stuff like that, but there's not a whole lot of arguments I see.
It's just people
It's
yelling
almost
back
like
and
a
forth
cult
at each
of personality, and it's usually gross. It's the left's gross, the right's gross.
They're just fighting for their team so hard, but they're not presenting any kind of facts or anything. And it is, I think it was
personal attack.
The Young Americans for Liberty. Why can't I think of his name right now? It just totally left my brain. And he said too that you can. You can say yes, this person has done, he's our president right now, and there's nothing that we can do about that, so you can say hey, you did a great job on that, we're as a libertarian or an anarchist, anarchist, no, but as a libertarian, you can say yeah, that was, or that was a step in the right direction, and you can also say nope, that was a step in the wrong direction, so it is what it is right now. This is who we have. I mean, but I always want to go for me personally anyway, go in a direction where there's less government, less government, more freedom for the people, kind of thing. But I don't want to see it happen, in the boogaloo kind of way,
We're not calling for civil war.
Yeah, Cliff Maloney. Thank you. Why couldn't I say his name?
Wow,
yeah. I could not think of his name for some
him.
reason. Cliff Maloney.
Yeah, we love y'all.
Yes.
Great.
Hi, Toby. It's so funny because we had him on and we were talking with him, and he was talking about how he introduced Ron Paul, and we said how he went down to Pittsburgh and we saw Ron Paul, and he's like, wait, what year? And we're like, 2012. And he's like, I introduced him. And then doesn't my son find a video we took on our crappy phone back in 2012, and sure enough, it was Cliff Maloney introducing Ron Paul, and I'm like, we were 3 years old.
The old Cliff Maloney.
Yeah, we had not seen, we didn't know who he was.
We didn't know anything about the Libertarian Party. We just knew,
we just
discovered
Paul.
Ron Paul, so we're like,
yeah.
Yep. I love Cliff. We're good friends, and just think the world of him, and love Young Americans for Liberty and everything they're doing. I think they're off the races, and they're doing incredible stuff, and I think that they're doing really important work. So
they are.
We like to work with them.
Oh, that's so great. Oh my gosh. This has been a lot of fun. I want to make sure that you get to talk a little bit more about what you're doing and how people can find out what's going on, how they can follow you and your group anywhere and everywhere. So just blurt out all of the ways. If you have a place for donations, a Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you have, let us know.
So our website is conservativesconcerned.org. That's the best point of contact. You can get my email. You can get other staff emails. You can see our state groups. You can get contacts with state groups. You can email us. You can sign our statement of support. You can donate. You can read a lot more about some of the data and different talking points I was giving earlier. We're also under our acronym CCA-TDP, so Conservatives Concerned About the Death Penalty, CCA-TDP on Twitter. On Facebook, we post a lot of content information on both of those two platforms. I'm at Hannah Cox 7. You can follow me personally if you promise not to bully me. And
you hear that, Mike Harwood? Mike won't. Mike will not bully you at all. He's just going to follow you. He's a good guy. I'm kidding.
I love to connect with new folks and get people plugged in. We've got active state campaigns going on to repeal in Colorado right now. I'll be back in Colorado next week and Wyoming at the later part of next week. And so if anyone's in those two states, there's definitely a lot to do. We did just launch Louisiana, so there's a lot to plug in with there. We're getting ready to launch in Ohio. That you're hearing it here first, so that's not official news yet. But February 18th, tune into our Facebook. We will be in Ohio for a big announcement. And so there's a lot of big stuff happening. And then we also have a lot of state groups that have been around for a good bit of time that are always looking for people that are wanting to get more involved and lend their voice to this. So we'd love to hear from people.
That's fantastic. Hannah, I just want to thank you so much for your time and for coming on with us tonight, because this was jarring to hear some of the statistics, honestly. But I'm sure you hear that a lot, from people like, wow. But it's necessary to put that out there, and the work you're doing is amazing. I mean, amazing. Mm-hmm. It really is. I feel like you wanted to say something, and I'm interrupting you. Okay.
No, you're good.
Okay. Okay, so everybody, Dave put a link in there. Any other links that you have that you want to, send to us, we'll put into...
we'll be around with it. I'll dump some more as I find.
Yeah, okay. And we're going to get this up, edited on YouTube as just its own little thing, too.
I should do that.
You should do that. You will do that, right? Don't you do that?
I've done it for a couple, but
okay.
I'm horrible.
Okay, well, he's going to do it for Hannah because I asked. So have a wonderful evening. I hope you're able to rest with the neighbors playing loud music. I can't hear it, though, so it's no worries.
We're good.
Good. Well, I hope you come back on. I want to stay in touch with you, and I want to know more about what you guys are doing and hear how things go as the year progresses, because it seems like it's really gone off on a good start for you all.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have some cool new news we can touch base on soon.
Please. That would be wonderful. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, you got Dave always. Yeah,
too,
Dave.
So that was good.
Oh, that was so fun.
She hung up first.
She hung up first. Okay. Yep. That was so much fun. And I mean, I'm really interested in a lot. I mean, what she was saying, it's just.
It's a lot to think on. Like I said,
is a lot to think on.
I haven't applied a lot of those principles to this situation. I haven't really thought that much about it. I've decided a while ago, that the government handling the death penalty is a big no-no. As applied to my.
I think the government handling anything is a big no-no.
So big no-no. Like, I don't want them even handling my mail, let alone who lives or dies.
Right.
But but I also have a lot of questions, because I do say like, and she might not even agree with that some people deserve it. Some people need it. But who decides? No, she hung up first. Did you see the black screen come up, Mike, where it said, look, I'll show you it because it's still there.
Mike, you can
that
follow
was there
her.
before it came off. So she hung up first. I didn't do that. I just did that.
You can follow her. She said, as long as you're nice, and I know you'll be nice. But that was so fun. Wow, what a turn in her life to go from what she was doing in the music industry to now this. And I feel like she said she wanted to connect with people and move people in a way. And I feel like this is, I mean, I feel connected and moved by music, but this is really changing people's lives, a lot. Saving lives. Exactly, saving lives.
Because, like she said, 1 in 10 exonerated. That's after they've already decided, the person went to trial, and, a lot of them are like, oh, okay, it wasn't you. But these are the 1 in 10 are the people who went to trial, were found guilty, sentenced to death. Is Andy here?
He was here for a few minutes. He was over on YouTube, actually. Why? Is he trying to call
Yeah,
you?
he just called me. I had
Oh, okay.
Skype open.
Yeah.
All right.
Someday, Andy,
I'm gonna get you.
we're going to get you.
But what was I saying?
About how the people...
Oh yeah, but yeah, after they're already sentenced to death, and 1 in 10 are like through like a heroic effort on other people.
Someone else's part, not the government's
Yeah, they're just like, okay, we figured it out. We know what's going on. This guy's going to the chair, and 1 in 10 of those are exonerated and said, okay, yeah, you didn't do that.
Yeah.
And how many
How
don't
many
get
have
that
already-
heroic effort?
How many have already... irreversible decision. Irreversible. You cannot bring someone back to life. And I know we had... And I know Strider mentioned it. And
No, Vigo the Carpathian left, his phone died. He just wanted to make sure we saw his Minecraft fire mix.
I love you, Toby. I miss you so much. I miss seeing you around like a lot, just on a bunch of things. But yeah, that banana bread he posted and the holding the Willemowskis accountable. Did Sean really do that? Did Sean Hatchie actually
I don't
stuff?
know. You don't know. You can't tell with Sean.
Oh,
But yeah, I
two
actually
snowies.
did like a lot of research on her,
Yeah.
and it was just because work was slow.
Oh, okay.
It's not like it was scouring
Okay.
her online life.
All the guys we've had on. No, I'm joking. I'm kidding. We're just joking.
I just had a lot of extra
That was
time.
for you,
and I'm
Toby.
Like,
That's a
and all
gin
week,
burp.
like I actually had news stories that I wanted to talk about.
I know work was,
I spent like a couple hours down here,
allowing
like,
you
on the
for-
stream.
to do things. But that's neat though that she interned with Taylor Swift. You know, very cool. Yeah.
I learned new ways to find out about people. And,
I love that she carried all the time
yeah.
in Tennessee. I think that's awesome. Why don't I carry all the time? Like, I need to.
I do.
Don't be mad at me, everybody, because
No,
I don't.
Andy just shows up.
Hi, Andy. But the fact that in New York, and we know we have some friends who live in New York, and it's not easy
No.
to get a gun, that you fill
Ain't
out
easy being
a form, and then you probably have to fill out another form, and then fill out another form in the waiting, but then they're just going to show up at your house. Someone told me that they'll just randomly show up at your house to talk to you in person. So at any time, once you send this form in, any time, cops can just show up at your house and talk to you about you wanting to have a permit to carry a gun, which, you know, is your right to carry a gun. But they just show up out of nowhere, and you better be ready to talk to them about it. So, hola! Hello, Anna. So that New York State seems to be, you know, with the soda and what was the other thing? the plastic bags and
I can't remember what else there is. I'm sure our New York friends can tell us what's going on. In New York.
Yeah.
That's the hot stuff. Hot thing right now
Right.
is plastic bags.
You're from
Brazil.
Brazil. Oh my,
That's
what is
exciting.
Brazil like? Tell us all about Brazil. I've never been there. Mexico is the farthest I've gone.
She's a conservative, though, Mike.
It's okay. No, with libertarian leanings, it's totally fine.
She seems to lean real hard libertarian.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. What's it like in Brazil? How are things down there? I'm curious, just because I don't.
The rest of the show is about you now, Anna.
No.
No, it seriously is. 'Cause
Yeah,
this
I
is-
mean, if you want
we
to
love-
talk with us about it, we would love to hear about what it's like there, because we don't know anyone there. It's beautiful here, but it's scary sometimes. Why is it scary? I know it's beautiful. What makes it scary?
I need to look at a map.
Hello, Clint. How are you doing? I've
Mike, you
I've
move on
heard.
so quick.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Dave's gonna. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I've seen pictures.
That
I've
giant
seen,
statue on the mountain with the
Yeah.
guy with his arms out. I've seen that in so many movies.
Because our laws don't work. Wow. So we were talking to somebody earlier about how the death penalty here in America and
Wow.
people
Can I bring
being
this
put
up?
to death, and maybe they're actually innocent and kind of stuff. So when you say your laws don't work, can you elaborate on that? Like what doesn't work? Is it that
That's what I'm talking
people aren't being punished, or people are being punished too hard for something that's really not that big of a deal.
Neat.
Oh, you had Brazilian dollars, but you spent it all. Now I'm singing that in my head. Thanks, Toby. You can kill people and you don't go to jail. Well, that is very scary. That's really scary. I'm really sorry that you're going like through that, like that you have to be concerned about that. So there's no repercussions for murder, because that's kind of a crime with a victim for sure, you know. Man, no, you're fine. You're completely fine. Not bad English at all,
Got a Skype?
Do you ever think of leaving, or
Is that an
are there
option?
better? Is that even an option? Are there better areas to be in than others, or is it just kind of all around? I mean, that's scary. What happens when I get knocked down? I get back up again. You're Mike. You're the. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You know, like the Chumbawamba. Chumbawamba. Yeah.
Ryan, Brazilian prisons are nice, though.
Are they?
How do you know?
No, and I mean, when we were talking with Hannah, you know, actually the percentage of people that are, the cases that are solved here is extremely low also, and it's very scary. Yeah. Oh, born in Russia! Oh my gosh. Wow.
Explains the last name.
Russia to Brazil. How did that happen? Because I always wonder when people move, like, what brought them to that area. So what took your family, you know, when you were 4, from Russia to Brazil? And that's also a very large, like, difference in climate as well.
Yeah, it is.
It is, yeah.
Because we're pretty much Russia right now.
We are, yeah. It's very cold here where we are. Oh, wow. Yeah, we're looking at pictures of Brazil. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
They just keep showing that statue of that guy. That must be their big
My mother
thing.
brings me. Oh, my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, there it is. That's what I was looking for.
That is.
That's a huge country. So
Wow. It is. It's bigger than Texas. Texas is pretty big.
not many things are bigger than Texas.
Yeah. I'm very sorry, Anna. I mean, okay, so you lived your life there up to this point. So, I mean, other family, friends kind of thing that you can be with? That is very large.
This is fun.
It is. I still live with my sister. Oh, good. Okay. That's great. What do you do for a living? What kind of work do you do? I love getting to know people, by the way, so I hope this is okay.
We'll
that I'm like,
everybody.
I'm super interested in, like, oh my gosh. And am I saying it right? Is it Anna? Did I say it? Is there? Hi, Quirt. How are you? We're talking to Anna right now, and she lives in Brazil, and it is very large. Yes, it is. You guys love to quote me on those things. Forget what I want because I want to buy a Honda. Hey, there you go. That's a good goal to have, right? That's a good goal. So I guess I should ask. I mean, I don't want to say, like, you know, how old are you, but, like, what age range are you in if you don't want to say specifically?
There's trees. Found some trees.
Just because I don't know exactly when you came from Russia and got there. So 16. Okay. So you're there now with your sister. Is she older than you?
Oh, there's where everybody goes.
Yeah, I've never been down in that area before, and I know I'm going to get quoted that real quick. Yeah, so. Oh, I see. She is 26. Uh-oh. What? I'm 16. She's 20.
Oh,
Oh,
sister.
she's 26. Okay. All right. Okay. So 10-year difference. So, but she's able to help and be there with you and provide for you until you're able to get a job. Burp for Toby, please. I did. I did a little bit. Yeah. Let Dave go to bed on time. I'm trying, Court. I really am. I feel like I'm gonna do good tonight, Court. I think. I hope. Okay, so Anna is 16 and her sister is 26. I mean, yeah, we have Dave goes to work, so you know he has a mode of transportation.
Got a couple.
Yeah, well, it's not like we're rich or anything, you know.
A couple beaters.
Yeah, just a van for the kids and then one for Dave to go to work. So
Oh,
it
yeah,
is
that's
not a Honda.
way bigger than Texas.
But I'm
Look
going
at
to
that.
tell you what. Oh, wow, yeah, Brazil's way bigger than Texas. Love you, Quirt. I'm so glad you
It's like half the U.S.
popped in. It's not a Honda, but my cousins and a couple of my cousins really, Hondas are the way to go. Yeah. And I'm telling you what, though, they really, you know, like, I'm not going to say any names, but they've just had Hondas last forever. Seriously. So, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, your sister's 26. What is, you really need a Honda. They do last for a long time, you know, if you take care of them and stuff, so, yeah.
What do we got? A Buick and a Dodge.
Yeah, yep. What does your
We're a
sister
GM
do?
family.
No. We're
As for
just
me and my
whatever is a
family.
used car that is at a good price with low mileage. Right?
I don't know. I had to work through some family, like, just hereditary, like, buy American, even though nothing's American now anymore.
Yeah. Good night, Derek. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a good day at work tomorrow. And I'm glad that we were able to talk about the bags in New York State. Yes.
That sounds
Oh, okay. All right. That's okay. Selling my car and buying a Honda this summer. Good job, Mike. Don't buy an Equinox. Mike has had some car troubles, so Anna, don't buy an Equinox. Absolutely. I'm so glad you popped in real quick because we're
wild.
going to be winding down our show here.
I'm just going to drop this guy somewhere in here.
Oh, okay.
Boop.
Every
There we
Friday,
go.
you know, we're here. We stream on like 4 different platforms. Friday
They're all
night
Hondas.
at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not sure exactly what time you're on. It could be Eastern time, could be not.
I'm getting over it, Andy.
But we're here if you want to hang out. We usually interview somebody. Tonight we had a great guest. It was a ton of fun. Now Dave is on Google Earth looking through the streets of Brazil. And I don't know whereabouts in Brazil.
I don't even know where I am either. I just dropped.
Huge. Oh my gosh. Yes. Plastic bags were banned. Oh no. Plastic bags were banned there on January 1st.
Oregon.
But you guys, they can pump their gas there now, right? Wait, Toby, are you in Washington or are you in Oregon? I can't remember where exactly you are on that line there. Oh yeah, you make car parts for GM. Support me, please.
Yeah. I'm getting hurt by Trump's tariffs too.
Yeah. Yep. It's been kind of rough with the.
How do I get out of this little guy?
At least you're getting your 40 hours a week, you know. So, Dave's really into looking at. I don't even know. We're never gonna be on this road ever. Oh, I can. Okay, you're up there. We're never gonna see this street, Dave. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
We're never gonna drive on this road.
I can guarantee it.
Yeah. I mean, what are the
Never
odds
gonna
we're gonna
see
drive
this
on
tree.
that road? You know. I'm gonna make a snack. I'm gonna make.
I'm not eating.
No, I mean, it's a pizza roll-ups, but they're with just cheese and pepperoni.
Is that what you're planning for tonight?
Yeah, so we're trying to avoid the carbs, which is why we're drinking
We're suffering
gin.
from capitalism.
Yeah, we're trying to drink gin right now instead of the brewskis that I usually like. So, but yeah, cheese and pepperoni. Bake the cheese, put the pepperoni in, then roll it up, bake it some more, put some Italian seasoning on it. You know, yeah. Oh, you can only pump gas on tribal land. What? I thought you guys were free to pump your own gas now.
That's wild.
That is crazy. Program from a resilient pothole. Are you kidding me? No.
Okay,
oh my
so
gosh.
when you said the pothole thing,
I thought you were just joking.
How do I get out of Street View? No.
I have no idea. Can you go to that thing where it says Street View and change it? Nope.
No.
They
I can
make it
change
so
the year?
hard.
What is that?
Your favorite food is pizza. Now, do you guys have like Pizza
A
Huts and
variety?
stuff like that? Do you have a variety of pizza places, or is it all like locally owned and not chains, or is it just make pizza in your house kind of thing?
There we go. Okay. I don't know what I did.
I love pizza. I do. I could eat pizza all the time. Wow, that place is so
Oh,
big.
that's Chile.
Yeah.
Wow, that looks way
Chile.
different. Chile.
Yeah.
I'm saying it wrong. It's not Chile.
I don't know, but
Because it gets super cold down here and there's
it
penguins.
does, and there's mountains. Didn't you see the movie Alive? Yeah. Are we looking, not looking for people's houses? Just looking in that. We've never actually gone Google Earth.
No, I had fun.
You
just-
know, yeah.
I got caught off on a tangent.
Looking at Brazil, you know, like I
I
mean,
will find out where you
I've
live.
looked at this for homeschooling the kids in the Amazon rainforest and kind of, you know, like,
Yeah,
but
gone
not
to
like,
Egypt and
you know,
stuff.
not actually like zooming in on,
I like doing that. I like just dropping into a random neighborhood and somewhere in the world and just.
on Google Earth,
Yeah.
not in person.
No, I don't have a
Oh, you buy
helicopter.
from a small pizza shop. Oh, awesome. Yeah, there's a few good locally owned places around here, but one of them burned down, so we can't go there
I've
anymore.
never had Chilean
so.
food, so I don't know if noodles
Oh
are
yeah,
in
do
there.
they? I don't know.
I am not updating this.
Oh,
Okay,
wait.
so that's quite a
did you- oh, you
travel
just put an
because
ice
here's our area. Here's where we're at. Up in here. Up in this area. Wide circle. Oh, you can see my mouse there. All right.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
probably like super small on people's phones, so they can't see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're up here. Now you can see it. And Toby's somewhere over here, right?
Oh, for your Airbnb. Oh my gosh. So when we go to Tennessee, we can look at that. That's also,
Ooh.
I use Google Earth when I want
Brilliant,
to,
Tom.
if I'm going somewhere new, I use Google Earth to look at the place and find out what the house looks like, so I know exactly. And like, is there like a driveway, off-street parking, like
Here,
all that
let's
kind of
tell
stuff,
people
so.
about what it was like to travel when we were first dating.
My
First of all-
husband. We've been married for 15 years,
Something like
together
that,
for
yeah.
20 years. Yeah.
So when we first dating and we'd travel to, say we were going to Albany,
Okay.
so first of all, we had an atlas in our trunk. We probably had, at least our area of the fold-up maps, and usually like maybe neighboring territories where we'd travel in. And
Andy.
then if we were going somewhere, we'd get up on MapQuest.
Ooh,
And
MapQuest.
we'd go ahead and search those directions out so we could print them on paper and take them with us.
Yes.
And I'd do some reconnaissance. I'd get on
Get real
MapQuest,
close
put it on
to-
the satellite, take a picture of the house.
Yep.
When you get into weird intersections,
not,
that's like a
it's-
separate printout.
Oh, good night, O'Brien. Thanks for hanging out.
Oh,
It's just a green screen behind us. I wish it was a real fireplace because it's
yeah,
cold
nothing's real.
right now. But yeah, that was we had to print everything out on map, have like staple it together, so you didn't lose a page. Make sure it was in the right order.
Mary, you were
I was the co-pilot. Still am the co-pilot. Well,
the navigator.
yeah. That's awesome. But yeah, so we would read maps, pull them out of the side of the car, like. Oh, I understand. Both sides of that. We both irritated each other, so we know what that's like, O'Brien.
No.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Have a good evening. Yes. Go tend to
Thanks for
what
hanging
is
out.
the most important. Yeah. We have 3 other green screen fireplaces. I wish it was real right now. My feet are freezing.
Remember when I had like 6 or 10 just all
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is easily changed. We can just. What else do we have? Not that one. Oh, that ain't what I wanted to do. Shoot. Ah. Oh.
Don't do that. Oh, is everything going to turn on now?
It was scene 2.
There's a whole bunch of
No.
stuff. No.
No.
Dave's clicking buttons now, guys. Can you still hear me? Are you with me?
I gotta turn that off.
I don't even have my ears in or anything, so I can hear the static
Yeah, I
through
haven't
my.
done any of the fun stuff. Any of the.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and push some buttons. Is it really loud?
It was loud to me.
I bet. Here, put some more drinky drink in here real quick.
Drinky
So, yeah, I was like, hey, let's. It is fun. He loves all this kind of stuff. I like talking to people, and Dave likes to do all the technology. You know, he likes to do a
The
technology.
Will Smith. Woo! That is super loud to me. I'm sorry for
Sorry
everybody if
for
that's loud
everyone
to you.
else. Yeah.
I keep
we don't have a
adjusting the
fireplace in our
audio
car.
when we have friends come on, and then all the other stuff is messed up.
Yeah.
Everything going to turn on.
Yeah. Everything. You know what I mean. Sometimes when he pushes a button and it's like everything restarts, so then you have
Oh yeah, I have to turn them off, and I forget to turn them off.
You have all the PewDiePie, the Will Smith, the Brap sound.
You want to see me do it again?
SpongeBob, you know, yeah. It's a
No,
bunch
wait,
of fun.
are those really loud? Let me see.
You want to see me do it again?
I don't think
loud to me.
it's
I can
going
hear
out
it.
loud. It's just
Okay.
loud in our ears.
You guys can let us know if it's too loud.
Oh, that's way louder.
Is it?
Take that down. There we go. Yeah, that looks good.
So, she was earlier. She was, yeah.
Turning Anna on. I don't know how to get in contact without her publicly displaying any kind of contact information. Like Facebook Messenger. Are you on Facebook? We can friend you on Facebook. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it weird like bringing on a 16-year-old? That'd be wrong. That might be wrong.
I'm not sure. When David pushes those buttons.
It's too loud. Wait, no, let me
Dave's like,
check.
wait, no, let me just make
check.
sure it's not too
Because
loud.
when we talk, it's almost up. Okay, yeah, we are quieter in normal conversations. But when I say check, it's like way up into the red.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, these are vapes. They're
Nicotine.
steam nicotine.
We quit smoking cigarettes and then we went to vaping.
Yeah, it's like a light bulb in there that just heats up liquid with nicotine in it, and then we inhale the vapor.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true, Derek. Like last week when the audio kept going, like
That's why.
oh,
That's why I
man,
spent
was-
like hours down here today. I'm like, I tested like Skype. I'm like, I should have thought of that with dude. Like if Facebook was screwing up, like okay, let's try Skype. You know.
have that backup
But
just
I've been
in case.
like
Yeah.
Facebook's been so good to me lately.
I know that was a real bummer when it was. No, it is nicotine, not
It's nicotine.
quote nicotine. It's nicotine. It actually is. Yeah, nicotine sucks.
We're not
So
potheads.
if you
We're
haven't,
alcoholics.
yeah, I drink. I don't. But if you have not started smoking yet, don't
Don't ever. It's horrible.
ever.
Crap.
It's terrible. It's terrible, terrible. Now I sound like a boomer for real. Like back when I was a kid.
I'm gonna use my buttons now. I'm all primed up, but it's
Aw.
like,
Somebody quote that.
How dare you?
but they are kind of
Mike.
loud.
I'm all primed. Damn it! Now
Let me
I said
turn
it.
that
He's
down
gonna
a
quote
little.
me saying that.
How dare you?
Yeah, see,
that
now
any
that's
better?
more reasonable.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna have to go through every single one of my buttons and take them down to that level. Everybody ready?
Okay.
That one's fine. Wait, where was that at? Where's?
Dave's just testing all of his buttons now. Because it's his favorite thing to do.
Where's?
Psh.
Yeah, that one's okay.
What?
Hey, look, there
Wait,
we
are we still on like the main channel? I guess that's fine.
Yeah, yep.
This is why I have to cut out the interview itself.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so we should probably move over for we do an after party in a different group. So right now it is 11:34. How about you, Anna?
Oh, it's kind of loud.
What time is it for you? We're
11:34 p.m.
11:34 p.m. on Friday, February 7th. Here, can you go down? Just go down on the map there.
Oh, on the map.
Yeah. Just like go straight down, straight. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're ahead of us.
Just a little bit.
Maybe, depending where you are, actually, because Brazil is
Oh, so
freaking
they're way over
huge.
there.
Oh my gosh.
So she's-
Okay. 1:35. Wow, so you're 2 hours. So you're like on the west coast of Brazil, I'm going to guess, like the western part of it.
Eastern.
Eastern. I'm sorry. Eastern part. Eastern. You're right. Jeez, what is wrong with me? Because I'm looking at a map right now and just like seeing where we are versus.
Got me in there.
Okay. Wow. So it's actually Saturday for you, the 8th. Yes.
What are you doing up so late?
Yeah. You're gonna hit the after party. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. We'll be there. I'm trying to. Don't say. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. I don't know how.
Paulo.
I won't say that right. I'm sorry at all. But.
Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
Sao Paulo.
That's very interesting.
Oh, there it
okay.
is.
Oh wait.
No, that's Sao
no.
Louis.
We're like, there it is. Nope, there it's not. That's so neat. All these places that I'll probably never be. Well, there's a lot of.
It's a lot of places.
There are, yeah. What's the temperature where
Oh,
you
know
are
what?
right now?
I can type.
It is, I don't know, probably 30 here. Do you think it's 30 or colder?
Somewhere around there.
Probably, yeah.
Probably colder now.
Yeah, we got snow. So, oh, I knew she couldn't say it was. Yeah, I'm not going to even try to say it.
Oh,
if
you're
I
down
can.
south.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. I mean, just the area there. Wow. Wow. Oh my, you're by the ocean. How long does it take you to get to the ocean? That's awesome. 71. Oh man. That sounds
nice.
Wonderful. Yeah. Do you guys have humidity? Does it get sticky in the air there? And tell me about the bugs. Are they bad? I'm so curious
Oh, that's
about
a big town.
the bugs. But now you look like you're crazy. Like
No, I'm just looking at the area.
no, but it's just it's neat
it's
to
a
like
big
see.
area.
Yeah. Yep. It is.
Where's the little dude? Drag him out. Drop him. Boop.
I don't know. Well, she said. I wonder what.
Oh, you guys got a Drogasil.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
Is that for like a pharmacy kind of thing?
It looks like one.
Yeah. I probably could.
They do have a Shell station though that looks
Shell,
exactly like around
yeah.
here.
Okay. They use Celsius.
Yeah.
Yep. That's so neat.
So does everybody else but the U.S. because
Yeah.
they're stubborn.
Because America.
I just love that there's a Shell station here. That's awesome.
Very cool. Is that a dentist?
It looks like it.
Dentistas? I'm not good at Spanish, so sorry. 21. Okay, yeah.
Give him a
21.
call.
Nope. It's a long number.
You got extra numbers there.
Yeah.
Just one.
One extra number. Yep. Neat.
This is fun.
That is fun. It's fun to see places that, we probably will never see.
What's this thing? Whoa, that guy looks serious. Oh, is that like a little police station?
Oh, is that what that is?
Policia.
Oh, Policia. Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Sorry, we're we're so fast. Like, oh my goodness, look at this whole world that we've never seen before.
Nor will ever.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Anna, come back on next Friday because we'll be live. Go follow our page because then you'll be able to find out when we're live. And comment and connect with us, so that we can keep in touch. This was a ton of fun. If you have a Facebook page, that is. But just know that on Friday nights, it would be 11:30 to you, 11:30 p.m. We start our show on Friday nights. So 9:30 to us, but you're 2 hours ahead. So it was really great. I'm glad you popped in. This was a ton of fun. Okay, that's great. That's great. I hope we get a chance to chat some more because this is fun. I love getting to know people because there's so many people in the world. And it's fun to look at that little place. I want to go there because it says chocolates. I want to go there. That's so cool. Yeah, I just really enjoy getting to talk to people and get to know people. So, yeah.
Hi, Guy.
Oh, Ryan.
What you doing, Guy?
They blurred his face. Yeah.
Yeah, they blur all the faces.
All right, we're gonna go because you know what? I have to use the restroom right now.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, I'm sorry. I've had a few of these drinks. So, Anna, thanks for coming in to hang out. Everybody, thank you for being here. Don't forget to come back next Friday. We're going to have Bo Wright on. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's Valentine's Day. And we're having our Bo on. Our Bo. Yeah. Oh, it was so much fun. Thank you for talking to us. This was really, really great. Thank you for sharing and
we need to
chatting.
Interview people from all over the world, like actually bring them on.
Yeah.
Like here.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it so much. Toby, I'm so glad you came in. It was so nice to see you and see your like hearts and stuff and your comments. I wish I could burp for you right now, but I can't. I have to pee.
Yeah, evidently, these drinks ain't doing it for us.
They're not burping. They're not burpee drinks. So yeah. All right, everybody who is part of Liberty Memes Patreon group, head on over there. In about 15 minutes, you want to say?
Like that,
yeah. I'm gonna go.
Make some snacks.
I'm gonna start a snack and go to the bathroom, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys there. Everyone else, we'll see you guys next Friday. We love you.
I don't like your T-Series. Nothing personal, kid. But I must go all out. Just this once. Bob's or Vagana, whichever will it be. Set the fuck down, T-Series, I'm here to spill the real tea. You tryna dethrone me from spot on number one, but you India, you lose, so best think you haven't won. When I'm through with you, we're gonna be completely fucking done, cause we only just begun. I review you, zero vibe is gone. So come on, T-Series, looking hungry for some drama. Here, let me serve you bitch lasagna. Bitch lasagna, bitch lasagna. T-Series ain't nothing but a bitch lasagna. Bitch lasagna, bitch lasagna. Look at T-Series, they just crying for their mama. Bitch lasagna, bitch lasagna. T-Series ain't nothing but a bitch lasagna. Bitch lasagna, bitch lasagna. T-Series just whip himself in their pajamas. So who the hell is Bob and why you wanna kiss him? Ew. I'm a blue-eyed white dragon while you're just dark magician. Oof. You got a fifth of the population in your nation, but I got 9-year-olds the world to hold your defecation. Oops, multipatlo, what the fuck is that even supposed to mean? Your language sounds like it come from a mumble rap community. No papa, yes papa, Johnny. Now download the sugar and let's throw this fucking party with some bitch lasagna, bitch lasagna. Look at T-Series, they just crying for their mama. Bitch lasagna, bitch lasagna. T-Series ain't nothing but a bitch lasagna. Bitch lasagna, bitch lasagna. Look at T-Series, they just wet in their pajama. Bitch lasagna, bitch lasagna. T-Series ain't nothing but a bitch lasagna. You got a population of 1.32 billion, but most your videos can't seem to hit even a million. Subbot!
Magic potty baby, your bottle's all done. If potty training time will be so much fun. I help you with your training dance, you make me so proud. Your potty feels like magic, then it flushes out loud.
It's fun to help Magic Potty Baby learn to use her potty. Flush and you're ready for next time.
Magic potty baby, I'm so glad that you're mine.
Magic Potty Baby and her Magic Potty. No water, no mess. Batteries not included.